Crazy once again, I hear voices in the trees. Or could it be the wind? And I'm a holding nothing but my breath. Beyond the firelight, the ghosts lingering.
What's going on, everybody? This is Folks and Gentlemen. We're your hosts, Roy Gravis, Bucky Pender. We got peoples all over the place. We got Rick Frantz from Ghostwood, which is the Texas sales rep, or state sales manager?
Sales manager.
Sales manager, I like it. And the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Lucas Perks, who makes the good juice that we've got on the table. Welcome all the way from Montana, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, guys.
How's it going, guys?
This is
everybody
fun.
good?
Good, really good.
Yep.
Hey.
We have other guests that will parade around here in a
Yeah.
second, but
We'll move
for right now
everybody
it's
around.
fine. But we do have one more surprise guest,
Yeah.
which literally was a surprise, because I was like,
Surprise.
when they pulled up, I was like, wait a minute, look, this is a guy. Who's the woman driving?
I don't know you.
I don't know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, as always, this is Sunday Funday for us. We affectionately call it the Church of the Charred Oak because whiskey comes out of charred oak barrels.
That's right.
So, welcome to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Good.
Your week is fantastic, I know.
Yes,
My
I've
week
been
is
excited.
stressful as all get out. Y'all's has been fun by the pictures, by the way, because I've seen barbecue pictures. You've been flying around all over the place like a madman, which amazes me to no end. So yes, good stuff.
We have we came down and actually the trip was originally around you guys and Long.
Well, let's be honest. I feel the Houston Rodeo Barbecue kind of trumps the functional gentleman just a little bit on the scale of things in the world. So
It just worked out.
Yeah,
it
right,
did
right.
work out, and we're glad it worked out for sure. We're 100% glad it worked out.
We been down here. I've been here 9 days now.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
Came down and I left the NCRHA, right?
NRCHA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting event up in
Okay.
up in
Contest
Fort
of
Worth.
Champions.
Yeah,
Nice.
up in Fort Worth, we have a booth up there, and got some girls manning that for us and everything.
Nice.
We sponsored all the winners and gave them all a bottle of whiskey and some
Nice.
Montos and some really nice stuff, and that ended last night.
Nice.
You know, they're at Will Rogers up in Fort Worth, and so I left them and came down here, and our surprise guest, who we'll meet in just a minute.
Yes, for
she's,
sure. I'm super excited about
She
her.
heads up the Texas Women's
Whiskey.
Society.
Yeah.
Out of Houston. They've got five chapters up here. And so we did an event. Luke flew in on the 19th, and we did an event at Whiskey Cake there in Baybrook, which was fantastic.
Nice.
That's some of the pictures that you see, online. And then we, from there, cruised to Galveston. Met some people, did a lot of meets and greets. Met some really great people.
Galveston's a fun town.
Yeah.
Galveston's a
nice
really fun town.
and then-
Pearland, Galveston,
Yeah.
downtown, left town, right town,
All
uptown,
over town.
Midtown.
midtown,
Actually,
Astrodome
we're staying in
town.
Midtown.
Okay, you're staying in
Oh,
Midtown.
nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're staying in Midtown.
Have you hit any good restaurants?
Oh
Yes,
God, yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's no lack of restaurants in this town, man.
No, not at all.
Every dinner's been too good. I mean, coming from Montana, where we've got some good restaurants, but this is a rich little area
Yes.
for sure.
I mean, no matter where we went,
It's a cuisine-rich area.
It really
You
is.
get anything you
Oh
want
my
in this
gosh.
part of Texas. And
Love
we
it.
love it.
and
I
then
know.
so then we got invited by Bravo, not whiskey.
Words.
Bravo. No, I just lost.
Oh,
it.
Chili Bravo.
Chili Bravo.
Chili Bravo.
The Chili Bravo guy.
Oh,
invited
yes,
us into
yes, their
their
tent. Yeah.
And
At the barbecue championship.
Yes.
And we just, it was basically just a meet and greet with everybody. And
Very nice.
what was really grand was the reception that we got from them, especially when the days come up. It was almost like leaving a family. And we were just there a couple of hours a day.
That's crazy.
By the time we left, yeah.
Yeah, it was really great. And the women were really involved with the whiskey there. And so it was really
Good.
really good.
Good.
Yep. And so we finished up with that, and we've been having dinners and meet and greets and everything. And now
Next,
we're
I know you guys met with a friend of the show,
Yes.
Mike Wright with Longhorn Liquor. I know that y'all met with them on
Wednesday.
Yeah, that was Wednesday.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and that
Very
was
exciting.
it's going to be a nice partnership with them.
I think so.
Yeah.
Very,
They're
very
great.
nice.
He's got himself a nice little setup over there.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
I mean,
much.
pulling
so.
up to it, I was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. Then you go inside.
Yeah.
It's it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you go to the office or did you go to one of the stores?
No,
They-
office.
Yeah,
It was
we
the
went
office?
to the office. Yeah, they snookered us into their main event area, I would imagine. It's so good. I mean, it reminded me,
Absolutely.
I mean, from my time in Scotland and stuff like that, just reminded me of those classic tasting rooms that you would find
Really?
over there
Right.
even. So he's done a great job.
Yes.
It's
We
a lot of
love,
fun.
we love those guys over at Longhorn.
Oh, for
They're
Yeah.
sure.
great
Yeah,
guys. They do a lot of good stuff for the area too. So I'm curious,
Yes, sir.
Lucas.
Well, your question.
We got to know. So the way we started off, the way I like to get into it, we've referenced the Marvel movies a couple times. I
Yeah.
like to call it your
When Mike-
origin story.
When Mike
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
on, it is a Marvel movie.
I've gotten to listen to it a couple different times.
Sure.
I went way back, like
Yeah,
way
yeah.
back, and found some stuff. I've got to listen to it a couple times, but I know a lot of people in our area haven't heard of and or even gotten a chance to try Ghostwood.
Yeah.
So coming all the way from Montana, I'm curious, what's the origin story with you with
Yeah.
Ghostwood?
Well, it's a long one. I mean, I'll try to cliff note it as much as I can. I mean, my origin story is more of what you would classify as a hobbyist, as a beginner. You know what I mean? And that was back in like 2012. In that period, I started just making my own whiskey. Not uncommon. And at that time, I was still living in the Midwest with my family's farm there. But a lot of my friends were doing the craft beer thing that was coming up. I've always been the whiskey drinker of our group. Even through college, I was the whiskey drinker. So my appreciation was more on that side of things.
Right.
But yeah, traditionally just a 5-gallon copper still and a hot plate. And
5-gallon
Yeah.
copper still and a hot plate.
and a hot plate.
What's the statute of limitations?
Yeah, right.
He said 2012. I think we're way past
Yeah, no,
that.
they can't catch me now.
Yeah.
He's legit now. I can't touch him now.
I was making medicinal stuff. But no, it was a 5-gallon copper still and a hot plate, literally in the back of my family's barn. You know, kind of. I'm not trying to be all like hillbilly about it, but it was kind of hillbilly.
The cool thing about it is you and I used hot plates very differently. I
Oh,
used
yeah.
them in college to cook food on. He's used them to make whiskey.
He's like, I got this. This
Yeah.
is different. No, but it was, and basically for me, it was just like year, 3 years of just learning how to do it well, and then it became, all right, mash bills, how do we make this work? So, you know, by the time 2014, 15 rolled around, I kind of was getting known around the area with the hunt clubs and the people we hung out on the ranch and the farms and stuff like that, carrying around mason jars of it, you know, which bourbon recipe they were liking, which rye recipe they were liking a lot. And so just from there, people started liking it. Lost my day job around 2014, and then, you know, looked at my wife, we just had a daughter, and said, I'm going to try doing a whiskey business. She's like, no, you're not.
You're nuts.
Are you serious?
She's like, no.
I made it work. But no, I started putting stuff in the barrels around then. And then what followed really is just 5 years of business plan development, visiting all the distilleries in the United States, the new craft ones that were popping up around then. There was quite a few at that point already, but you know, time in Scotland, time in Ireland, European trips, coming back, refining what I was doing here, and then waiting for my stuff to get aged up. And that's the main point for our go-to-market for me when I was going is I wanted it to be a complete product from the beginning, and then I wanted it to be a premium product from the beginning. So I had time for it to kill in the barrels. I just had to do a bunch of other stuff in the meantime. You know what I mean? And not a lot of craft distilleries started off with a five-year-old.
No,
Yeah.
and I like the fact that you kind of, from what I understand, you didn't start out any other spirits, no vodkas, no clear stuff that you
No,
could like
yeah.
make quick cash off of, so to speak.
Right. Well, and that was kind of the, you know, the craft. I would say the craft whiskey market's kind of, even at that point, I would say is still in its infancy.
Right.
It's starting to mature now. But back then, there were two basic business models. It was, I'm going to build the distillery and then hope the market's there to catch my brands and start to growing it.
Right.
The problem with that is it literally is like $500 to $1 million in investment in infrastructure, and then you don't even know if you're going to sell your stuff.
Right.
Unless you are doing like the vodka and you basically have a bar at that point, right, where you're supplying your own stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your turnaround. The other way to do it is to what I ended up doing at the end of the day in Montana since I moved there is I actually partnered with another great distillery called Dry Hills, and I worked into their facility, and like I call myself a hermit crab at the moment, where I'm kind of like
makes sense.
occupying much of their equipment while I'm doing my own stuff. But the idea is, you know, we're year 4 since we've been in the market. The end of year 5 is then the facility follows.
Nice.
So I mean, if your whiskey drinkers are okay with me going that route, which I think they should be, because there's no real difference at the end of the day. It's just that instead of having to invest in all the infrastructure, the equipment, and the people and all this stuff, just making my own stuff with their equipment, with their help, and then, porting over into a facility and knowing exactly what kind of equipment I'm going to even need.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it's like doing market research on exactly what you're going to need.
It's almost like test driving a car.
Yeah,
It is.
a lot like that. But I mean, you're not afraid to talk about. Like you're talking about it openly. You're not trying to hide anything. You're saying, look, these people at Dry Hills is great.
Well, but that's it's the way I'm doing it is I would. I don't like poo-pooing anyone's go-to-market because, I mean, God knows there's a bunch of different ways to do it. But in terms of this, you tend to get there's some raw commentary in the market. It's like especially like Matthew McConaughey has a new whiskey. Well, it's really being made by these guys over here or MGP or whatever.
Right.
I'm at least hands-on enough while doing it. And it is my recipe and it is my way of mash bill and it is my blah blah blah. So it's all. I'm doing as much as I can with my hands while I can in a way that makes sense for the business, So the main point for us is just getting it out there and getting as many people to drink it as we can, because it's fantastic.
Obvious.
That to me is a perfect segue that says we need to pop one of these damn bottles.
We can do that.
Let's do it.
I'm tired of looking at
While we do that, Rick, I'm curious, how did you... So, if I'm not mistaken, your background is a little more bartender side.
Well, I've been 46 years in the restaurant bar business.
So why whiskey? How did you get into whiskey? Why Ghostwood? What's your origin story with all of this?
My stomping grounds right now is South Fort Worth and Weatherford, Texas. Big country, PBR, all the big boys are all over.
Go Coyotes.
Big kangaroos.
Yeah.
Kangaroos up there. And then, big horse people up there.
Right.
Huge horse people.
Y'all are hopping around all over the place with this
The
kangaroo.
reason I mentioned Go
Lucas, take
Coyotes
over.
is because my cousin's stepdaughter is a softball pitcher by trade. She started out at Weatherford College.
Okay.
That's why I said Go Coyotes.
I'm thinking they're high school kangaroos.
No,
Kangaroos.
that's why I said Go Coyotes.
So anyway, I'm on the back end of my career. I've been 13 years at TGI Fridays, been other restaurants and everything. So I had an opportunity, turning the age I have aged, and with COVID hitting and everything, the guy in Weatherford brought me over and said, hey, help me open up this big sports bar restaurant, type thing. Burgers and beer and wings, right? 750 people, the thing sits. 2 patios, huge 4 rooms, all this kind of stuff. 2 bars, everything. So, and right close there downtown in Weatherford, a place called Ships. So it was on the back end of my career. He can have something to go. I get him for it.
Yeah.
So I've been bartending there, helping the guy run the place, just doing my thing, and enjoying 4-day work weeks, 5-day work weeks, getting a lot of money, and just enjoying life now. Not working the 90-hour work weeks.
So jealous of a 4-day work week.
Yeah. So
Me too.
Not doing a 90-hour work week, running stores and all that kind of stuff. Just basically, getting back to family and enjoying life and everything. Met their family almost 2.5 to 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. They'd come in and they were sitting on the back patio, and it was one of your aunts came in and said that, hey, we got this new whiskey, and they had a bottle. Can you make us some drinks with it? So I made a few drinks with it. They loved it. It was coming into market. We hadn't had it yet, but it was coming into market. And 2 years ago, we do it'll be the 3rd annual coming up, Sunset on the Square there in Weatherford. They have, it's got the courthouse, the original courthouse, and roundabout, and then 4 parking lots with a square around it. What they do is they block off all the square in an evening, white tablecloth, 5-course meal.
Nice.
All that out of it. Each quadrant's got like their own restaurant, their own servers, all that kind of stuff. Bartender on each one, and then their own bands. So it started. We were the first ones to do it. Now other communities are doing it now. It's just something to get back. So they had a table there in our quadrant, and his dad called me over. He said, Rick, we just signed on to have you heard about the Mile Zero Festival down in Key West? And I said, I have. He says, well, we just signed on. We're going to be the sponsor whiskey down there for it. We need a drink. So I got one.
And we need a pirate.
Yeah. Right, obviously. You gotta have a pirate in Key West. It only makes sense.
I love it. We need a pirate.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Do they pick on you and call you Captain Ron?
Anyway.
If it was only rum.
But so his dad said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I have a mojito I make with it." He says, "No way." Well, the next week he came in with his wife, his mom, and they had it. And they actually filmed me on the phone or on his phone and tried it, and they fell in love with it. Things have progressed from there. They invited me to go down and never met Luke.
Yeah, still haven't met me yet.
Yeah,
I would have had something to say about it.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, well.
but I met
Worked
Luke.
out.
Yeah, I met Luke. We hung out for 7-8 days down in Key West.
Yeah.
Ran a booth down there and both of us became very, very popular down there. The whiskey went great. The drink went great. The mojito. In fact, I did 3,000 mojitos in 4 days down there.
3,000
And I
mojitos.
handmade every one of
How
the
do you make
guests.
3,000 in 4 days?
A lot of shaking, baby.
Right.
A lot of shaking.
All right, so you poured up a little bit for us, Luke, kind of, as you would do as officially as possible.
Yeah, bet.
How would you do this if we were sitting at your place?
Yeah, if you're up at the distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I tend to. I'm a visual guy too, so what's the first thing you notice with these glasses, especially, is you can really see the drape on Ghostwood whiskey. What you're seeing there, just on the visual.
I'm gonna have to start using that term. I usually use legs. I like the word
legs, drape.
I like the drape. I'm gonna
Yeah.
start using that.
But it's you'll see the oils specifically in our stuff we're about to taste it, but that's an indication that what you should be getting is a full tongue experience that doesn't quit on you and has that nice smooth finish. The smells, obviously. Yeah, no.
Ooh, super sweet.
Yeah,
Like-
so my taste profile now, as I was developing this, is I really wanted to find. I'm very much the Werther's original,
Yeah.
right, of whiskey, if you will.
I just find you in my pocket.
Right, your grandpa hands it to me. No, but no, I like the toffee, I like the butter, I like the the char, the spice on the rye. So all of that kind of comes together into like a spicy Werther original toffee experience, and that's what you're smelling.
You're definitely there with the coloration. I mean, that literally looks like
I get a little
liquefied
bit of-
Werther's.
Powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar, yeah, on the top edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, when you're gonna taste it, I mean, I like to feature the grains. So you're gonna taste that nice. And being in Montana, just so you know, there's not a lot of corn for a lot of reasons. But I still import the corn from my home state in Illinois. So I bring in yellow sweet corn from Illinois, and on this recipe, you're looking at about 55% yellow sweet corn with 36% hard red rye from Montana, 10% hard red winter wheat, only 10%. Okay.
Hard red winter wheat.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I classify as my secret ingredient a little bit, and I'll explain it why in here in a second. But also, whatever's left on that percentage is malted barley.
Right.
Let's do the math on that. Somewhere around 8%.
It equals 100%. That's all that
Yeah,
matters.
no, don't check my math. People watching. Wait a minute, sir.
Yeah, sir.
You get me in the comments. No, but the hard red winter wheat's kind of my nom de claire. So when I developed this, it was a 4-grain bourbon in Illinois, but I was using kind of typical for a lot of the distilleries. It's just your standard kind of Class A cereal wheat that you would
Right.
find like Maker's Mark probably uses. All these wheated bourbons will probably end up using. Kellogg's uses it to make cereal. Yada yada yada. Bread. You get it. It's easy. I didn't quite like it. I thought it was too sweet and created too much syrupiness to it, and that's kind of my problem with most wheated whiskeys.
Right.
It's just a little too sweet for me. But I moved to Montana because I married a girl from Missoula, Montana. That's how I ended up over there initially. And I was still in my growth kind of business building phase with Ghostwood at the time. I connected with a farming family up there called Droge Farms. Incidentally, own Dry Hills.
Oh,
So they're farming their own wheat and bringing it in. And I said, I want to try this wheat with what I got on, switch it out. And what I was really amazed because what it's doing to it is it's creating a much darker and deeper feel to the wheat, and it's a little bit more dry in comparison to sweet, right? So while you're getting a lot of that sweetness on the wheat, you're actually getting a much earthier tone to it. So, and at only 10%, it acts as a fantastic carry-all the way through your tongue. So, and then the malted barley, most people also don't know this about Montana, is it's the #1 producer of barley in the country. In fact, I think it's only
It's got a good finish.
2 other states that do it. We're like at 90% of all
There's
barley
a lot
made.
of craft breweries in Montana, though, isn't there? I
There
think that's like
is.
the 3rd or 4th largest.
Oh yeah, there's
Craft brewery place?
every little town has their own little craft brewery, and it's fun to explore if you're into that stuff for sure too. But yeah, no, we crack and malt our barley like right next door to where we do this stuff. So I mean, right now, just as a little background, is my next stop after the rye we release here pretty soon. In about 2 or 3 years, we'll have a single malt that'll be ready to go, and I'm waiting until like 10 on that. So
You gotta get on
I got nothing to say on that one.
You gotta get on the single malt train.
Right.
You just got to.
yeah,
You gotta get on the single malt train.
So we joke all the time because whenever we had a producer, there's a clap button and a laugh button, and it's always a joke. We're recording in front of a live studio audience. Well, today we actually kind of are.
Right.
We have our good friend Ryan here with us.
Yep.
Yes.
Ryan, I'm
Mr.
curious.
Ryan
They
McGee
won't
himself.
obviously may not be able to hear you, but I'm curious of your thoughts on this one and what you're getting on the nose palate.
Frosted shredded wheat, you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
oh yeah.
Meets honey bunches of oats.
Yeah.
Right here. This is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's great. Yeah.
And this is the Ghostwood blended bourbon,
Standard 90.
standard coming in at 90 proof.
Yeah. And it's what's great about, to go into, I can go in deep with this stuff, so you cut me off if I get too nerdy.
No, please nerd
If
out.
I get too
I love
nerdy.
it.
But my approach to whiskey, and especially this one, is it's smooth, for one. It's very smooth.
It is.
I come from a Scotch school, so it's going to be very easy on the back palate, and you're only going to get a little burn in the middle of your chest, right? I'm not overpowering you with the heat.
Can you repeat that for him?
Yeah, so it's very smooth, a little bit of heat right in the middle of the chest.
No, the part about he came from a Scotch
Oh.
school.
Right.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
Scotch. Okay.
It was my first love.
Continue, sir.
Yeah. No, it's
That's where that's going on
so
that
it's
side,
very
right?
smooth. But and to that end, if you're taking a look at the whiskey market in general and the new bourbon market that's been like nonsense like the last 12 years, I wanted to be a little bit more approachable for all the new whiskey drinkers coming in, right? So why there's a lot of whiskey distilleries that and I get it. I'm a whiskey drinker myself. They almost want to throw the heat at you right away, and
Yeah.
that becomes the whiskey experience. And I'm like, we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
We can actually make this approachable and fun and easy and still complex. Still have the flavors. Still have the prestige, right? So that was the intent on this. So what's been amazing and gratifying is the amount of women that's been coming over to Ghostwood because it's easy and approachable to do. And in fact, if the woman coming in already is a whiskey drinker, they actually like the 114 better.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and we'll try that next. But that's so just keep that. I just want everyone listening in terms of our approach to how we produce stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a big deal for me.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, no.
That is very awesome, and that's very good. That's got a good finish to it too. I love the finish on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, your coloration is spot on with the whole Werther's original thing because it looks
Yeah.
like liquid Werther's.
Yeah.
So, you've been in business, what you said, 4 years?
Yes, it's 2020.
And you jumped into the Texas market fairly early into that.
Yeah, within 5 months.
What
Yeah.
was the decision behind that? Because everybody I've talked to has said, "Oh, the Texas market is you want to wait, you want to make sure you're ready, you've got the stocks for it."
Well, I was already ready.
You know,
No,
you,
I mean,
you want to
we-
make sure you launch in Texas the right way, and
Right, exactly.
And we've talked about it on the show,
That swag is what he said. I'm already
right? What you, I've been done did that, but I mean, it's for us at least. This was something new, at least maybe in the Southeast Texas area.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I don't recall seeing it, and again, I'll admit
No, it's
I
okay.
wasn't looking
Well,
for
and
it
I'll
either.
admit, we weren't really going anywhere south
So-
of Fort Worth. And
So what was the
DFW.
decision behind that? Because even the Dallas market alone is fairly large by itself.
Well, yeah, and coming in as a craft whiskey, I mean, people are now trained, or at least they were back then. When you're talking to a craft whiskey, they're like, oh, okay, whatever, and we're used to like maybe 2 years in the barrel and then release kind of thing,
Yeah.
and everyone was trying to get away with like $70 on a bottle for that and all this other stuff. So it was difficult actually because I was coming in, I'm like, no, trust me, it's 5 years old. You will actually sell this. It's actually legit. But yeah, to your point, it wasn't. From the beginning, I wanted Ghostwood to be recognized for the quality and for what we have in terms of branding and promise to the customer. And so that's why I was probably the only one that I know of released into the market with that kind of finished intent, right, with the 5 years. And have it aged. I mean, I was fighting tooth and nail with a bunch of people telling me to just get it. And plus, okay, the other thing too is since the bottle is black, And that to me is important because what you're doing is you're not allowing, for one, you're not allowing the customer to see the color.
That's where
which is
I
a
was
huge
fixing to go with
differentiator.
it, because normally a black bottle translates into you're trying to hide something.
Exactly. No, the premise of the bottle is, again, it's about going beyond the firelight, right?
Right.
So it's about allowing the customer to explore and see what's going on, and then giving them a challenge to overcome even from there. Now, most retailers will say, I don't want to give any challenges away. I'm like, yeah, but it's a customer experience. It's my relationship with them that matters to me. And so if they were brave enough to go beyond the firelight and pick up a black bottle, they'll of course see that the color's fine. Everything's great.
It's okay, I guess.
But it's like, oh, thank God.
It's okay.
It's not purple.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, but that was a huge deal to me, and like I said, that's obviously since I've made that promise to the customers, that's going to be a pretty consistent element to the bottles we create. So this rye that we'll talk about here in a little bit, while it's in the clear, that's called a Founder Select Series. That's just something I released super limited out of the back of the distillery, and that's kind of why it looks that way,
Gotcha.
right? But that bottle we're working on right now is going to be ceramic and it's going to be white,
Oh.
and it's with a black
Okay.
tree on top.
I got you.
So even that's going to be hidden. So, but that's, again, the whole premise for us is go beyond the firelight, explore the unknown, see what's going on, add us to your collection, bring us in, you won't go wrong with Ghostwood,
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Long-winded.
No, yeah.
Perfectly
You're good, but
Yeah.
and it's a kind of a good segue into another thing I had noted down. The black bottle, the white tree, the go beyond the firelight, all of it. You come from, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit of an artsy background.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't.
So I have to think that there's a lot of that went into this design, that idea, the black, the white.
Yeah,
And the other side of that was when you look at it all, like just the bottle itself, when you go to your website, everything is dark, it's a dead tree, it's all of these other things, and it automatically made my brain equate it to like the horror story, the dark side, all of
Right.
these things. But when you start reading it and you hear your story and you hear the slogans that you have and the quotes that you have, it's really the complete opposite of the look.
yeah.
You have
In
this
a
dark
sense.
black look, but you're all about going beyond the firelight, finding what's inside of you,
Right.
branching out a little bit,
Yeah.
no pun intended there, but it's about something bigger than just a black, dark, wooded area. I mean, it seems like it's almost an oxymoron from the look to what you're preaching in a sense.
Well, a little bit. I mean, because first of all, I mean the impetus for the design for me is I'm a Midwest boy, so I love my falls, I love my Halloweens, I love my harvest festivals. So I wanted to evoke that kind of seasonality to it. So it all started with that, and I'm a huge fan of ghost stories and that
Right.
and that kind of gothic stuff for sure. But what I wanted to do primarily is again, that go beyond the firelight. It's meant to a lot of brands. Let's back up. A lot of brands that I've seen that kind of make this sort of play. They call it a story brand. I mean, but they do the first step, but they don't follow through on step 2, 3, 4, and 5. And step 5 is where you get people actually to pay attention and understand what you're saying. Right? They just go like, oh, this is my vibe, and then that's it. And meanwhile, they have a picture of their family on a farm somewhere. It's all good, but it's not quite completing the promise on their initial brand, promise. So with Ghostwood, it goes all the way through. So to your point, go beyond the firelight. Well, I went beyond the firelight, right? I took my job. I got fired. I then started a whiskey company out of nowhere, okay? Just because I loved it. Right, and I had to go over a bunch of different challenges and personal strife and everything else. Where's the money coming from? My wife's mad at me. Now she's in love with me again. But no,
It took a minute.
my parents thought I was crazy. Everyone
She's
thought I
in
was
love
nuts.
with me.
Yeah, but you go through all of that, and that's a huge hurdle for anyone to go over. You know what I mean? So in terms of how it relates to me and why you see me a lot on the website, is because I'm just sharing my story, and if you can relate to that, then you're already going beyond the firelight, and then you can translate that into the customer and just say, hey, if you want to really go beyond the firelight, try this whiskey you can't even see.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. But I mean, that's really what it's about. And I'm not telling people to come at me with like, share your story, Facebook, We'll take that. But that's like such a common play, and I don't want anyone, like, you don't have to share your story with me. I just want you to relate with what we're doing. You know what I mean? Just relate with it, have fun, enjoy the whiskey, share it around.
Yeah.
That's all good, you know.
That's interesting. I love the fact that he's probably the first guest that has openly said, hey, I got shit canned for my job, and I decided to do this instead. Most of them are like, oh, I wanted a career
Yeah.
change.
It's my great grandfather. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's like, I got fired.
I go back in
did
time
this.
in the 1830s.
Yeah.
We were farming on this. Yeah, no. No.
So Rick, a little bit about your what seems like a really hectic schedule with all the things that are going on. I mean, you were at Southeast Texas Whiskey Fest, then you turned around and went to Mile Zero Fest.
Yep.
And, you know, this week, like you said, you've been on the road for like 9 days, going to all these different whiskey fests and events with whiskey women and all of these other events. What's it like? What's your schedule like? And how do you manage all that? Because that's,
Well,
plus you got a guy like Lucas all over you and saying, hey, I need this.
Yeah.
Well, the greatest thing about Luke and I is that, you know, we're two opposites, but we mesh so well together.
Yeah, we're two sides of the same coin in a weird way.
Yeah, we
We really are.
Yeah.
We really are.
And this
Goofus
is,
and gallant. Kind of, sort of.
this is the second time we've gotten to spend some time together. And we've really bonded, and we know where we want to take the company and all that. But for me, if anybody's ever been, talk to any waitress, cook, I don't know, anybody in the restaurant business, managers, whatever, it is, if you've got a good place, you walk in that door, you're excuse my language, your balls to the wall until you leave. So it's an 8, 10, 12-hour shift. So I'm used to that.
Yeah.
And so with this coming on board with me, for me to get up and do all this, and he's like, Rick, make sure you're not overdoing yourself. I said, this is what I'm used to doing.
Right.
But yes, it's a different type of thing. It's not getting up and going, 100 miles an hour all at once. It's like, so I'm learning how to back off that a little
You got to
bit.
ease into it.
Yeah.
Right.
But so, and he said, Rich, come on, back off a little bit. No, it's just because that's what I've grown up with. And anybody who's made a career out of, what I do, they understand that.
Right.
And so this has turned around for me to be more blessing than anything, just because now I get to see another side of the industry. And my biggest thing is being able to share my experience.
Right.
Especially when I go into a bar or restaurant, I can talk one-on-one with that, and we're talking the same language.
Right.
And I get their attention. It's not like a manager going in and it's like everybody sitting there, crap, another 10-minute shift meeting. What are we going to talk about today?
Yeah.
Shit. But that now is something that we bring in that we can help the stores, the restaurants, the on-premise places. Wow, these people really care.
Right.
And they're there to help. And he wants to know my name and all that. And just like anybody coming up, I want to shake a hand. Everybody comes up to me, and I want to introduce myself and get their name. And that's the care and concern that I want to bring to the table. And say, look,
Right.
I'm here for you guys.
We saw it firsthand.
Oh, I
This
mean,
guy's like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, we weren't even done setting up at Southeast Texas Whiskey Fest, and Rick is already sitting in the middle chair like, let's go. What are we doing? I guess we're going live. Here's Rick.
So, yeah, and that's what's got me the reputation I do have in this industry. And, I don't care about the popularity of it. It's just about me sharing and caring about something that I'm very passionate and very much love, but then also, too, my experiences throughout the career that I have in the restaurant club business.
Yeah, and for your listeners that own bars and restaurants in the area, I mean, that's who you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah.
And he'll come in and he'll take great care of you, and he'll help you, and he'll work behind the bar if you need him to. We'll do events.
Yep.
He's the direct line to me up in Montana.
Yep.
So it's between the two of us and my production, his ability to speak that language. I mean, we've got a really great team starting.
It's a really,
Especially for Texas.
Do you have a really good on-premise
Presence?
present? Thank you.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
I would say in the Dallas-Fort Worth area,
Yeah.
more than down here, and so this is kind of like a breakthrough for us down here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the different cultures that we've experienced down here, which is many, have been very, very positive.
No, and it's been fun too.
I mean, yeah, a
Seriously.
lot, yes.
Yeah.
So, and again, somebody sees this, they see the bottle on the shelf or whatever, they're going to go right to it just because it's on
different.
a bar shelf or
Yeah.
in the liquor store. It's different. What is that? But then and then I've done my job by educating and coaching and teaching staff inside of a store or the manager or whatever. They explain it right, but then it sells itself.
Right.
No, it definitely
It
does
sells
that.
itself. So it's just getting the exposure out there for it.
Well, and that's actually another good segue. Look at you go. And Kevin brings up a good point. He said, I don't think they ship to Michigan. What states are you currently in?
Yeah, so that's a
And
good question.
there's a follow-up question to that as well.
Yeah, so right now our states are Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, in various regions, Nevada, and that's it, and then Montana, of course. But we're looking to expand for sure. But what I'm actually kind of pulled it back a little bit in terms of our state pickups, mainly because we needed to do better on ground with premises. So restaurants and bars, we needed to get a better class of service with him installed, and then we're also bringing on some new salespeople in the market just to really lock it down, because we were doing probably last year we did about 750 cases in Texas alone, but that was just in maybe West Texas, North Texas, and I'm like, before we go anywhere else, we just need to lock this state down. This is getting ridiculous. So in terms of Ghostwood, this is the year of Texas.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm bopping around. I'm coming down to Houston. We're going to Austin. We're going to San Antonio. We're going over to Lubbock. We're just bopping around. Old
You
school.
can't exactly bop around Texas.
Well,
You drive for days to this one and then days to that
Well, you
one.
say
and then-
that. I'm from Montana. It's like Game of Thrones up there. It's like 4 days to the next kingdom. It's like
And we haven't gotten the automotive
Right.
thing yet. We're still on horseback in Montana.
that's
I don't
all.
know. It
Yeah,
takes
that's all I'm saying
forever.
is I'm used to it. It's not that dissimilar. But no, so it is the year of Texas for us, and that's why, we've been wanting to come down to Houston. We just haven't had, like I said, we haven't had the missing link with Rick and everything else. So it's
The pirate.
no, but I mean,
Bring it
honestly,
up,
in terms of like that direct personality, because I can come down here all day. I can have family members swing through and stuff like that. But unless you are speaking the bar and restaurant language like we needed, it wasn't gonna matter much at the end of the day. We can get a couple liquor stores, but. And we love setting up relationships with liquor stores for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we also, one of the promises Ghostwood has in terms of its go-to-market is we don't just stop at the liquor store. We also want to go beyond that and help them make money. And by saying, "Oh, thanks for bringing me in," at least let me help you move some stuff, right? So that's a promise I want to be able to keep. Then when we go to other states and so forth. So we're developing that now.
It's kind of like we're setting our footprint right now, and then we get that established here. Then now we've got the infrastructure already set up.
Right.
Now when we move to the next state, it's easy.
Right.
And
So you're kind of in the beginnings of how we're putting us all together.
And conquering Texas, I said no, that's no problem.
Right.
But as big as the state is, and as big as these markets are, and as big as the different cultures that you have, in the whiskey market, right? You get this down.
Right.
Every state after that's going to be easy.
Oh yeah.
It's
No
just
doubt.
like bam, we already know what to look for and all of that, and then it's smooth sailing.
And for whiskey in general, you get the old saying, it's like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Right.
Texas for whiskey.
Texas.
I feel that too, yeah. And
Yeah.
especially if you cross to Louisiana, just tell them, hey, Big Brother's doing it, you should too.
Right. It's crazy. And I love Texas too, obviously. So
Yeah.
Good.
So
Montana's the Texas of the North.
Interesting.
Just saying.
Okay. Montana is the Texas of the North.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
neither.
sure.
I-
Well, most people don't know Montana's even up there. So.
Yeah, and it's actually the fourth largest state
Yeah, it is.
in the
But
United
we've only
States.
got-
So,
yeah.
Is it a
only
state
got-
though, or is it a suburb of Canada? Let's
Hey,
be
man.
honest.
whoa,
Which one is it?
whoa!
Hey,
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Us super entrenched libertarians find offense to that. We're not going to show up to any rallies. I got to leave my cabin.
Leave my cabin. No, not leaving the cabin.
So, kind of a couple follow-up questions to that.
Yeah.
With the whiskey industry being 100% three-tier system where it's distillery, distributor, and then seller,
Right.
how, and you don't have to answer this if you can't, how far can you push it with these meetings with liquor stores and things like that? Because I know that you can only go so far, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So-
no, as a supplier, it's every state's different. And that's, as a supplier, also makes it very difficult to do nationwide sales because you're starting fresh everywhere you go.
Right.
For Texas in particular, though, yeah, it's us to the distributor, then the distributor to what we call Class B liquor stores, and then they make the deliveries to the bars and restaurants. There's not a lot I can control. Once I get it to the distributor, we just have to make sure that we're working with the distributor that holds to their promise to represent us well. The one thing, and then it's kind of like the old South Park meme where it's like product ? And then profit.
Yes.
It's a little bit like that. What I can tell you is we love talking to liquor stores. We love engaging with, especially the ones specifically around whiskey groups and stuff like that. We always favor that as much as we can. But what I can control is putting someone like him in the market for the bars and restaurants,
Right.
to help facilitate the pull through. So at the very least, I can complete both sides of this image, and hopefully, if I do my job right, the middle should be taken care of. That's the idea.
And for the way I look at it too, this can sit on a liquor shelf, but how do you get the exposure?
Exactly.
Somebody sitting inside a bar or a restaurant and having that staff knowledge about it.
Right.
Right. Boom. Now you're starting to build, because what they're
Yeah.
doing, they're gonna first you get the supply from the store, then you get them looking at, I want to get a bottle for the house.
It's a great
Now
way
you're getting
to,
from both ends.
it's a great way to educate your customer base.
No, for sure.
That way, you know what I mean?
And I just want to make one quick point. This just won double gold, too,
Okay.
Right.
over in San Francisco.
Okay.
Nice.
First time in there, you got 5,500 spirits that were entered, 14 got double gold.
That's one of the
them.
14.
Right.
Very
And we're
nice.
doing it again this year, so it'll be kind of fun to see how it goes.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
shouldn't be too hard.
So, you want to move on to the
Yeah.
next one?
No, I want to sit here and look at the bottle.
I mean, it's pretty. I
while
can
I'm
look
doing
at
that-
it for a minute.
I'm going to excuse myself.
Okay.
Oh.
Because
okay.
I'm going to be back behind the scenes.
Okay.
Making-
I got.
Okay.
He's going into cocktail mode. I
Okay.
see where he's going already. He's like going into cocktail mode.
So I want to introduce our other guest here.
You
Yeah,
can't.
you can't.
Yeah,
If
put
you're
your
gonna-
mic up to your
you
face.
If you're going to
sorry.
introduce,
you can't just hold it and talk.
I can't. No.
Yeah.
So this is going to be Summer. I'm going to introduce to you. She's head of the Women's Society of Texas, and we'll let her handle this.
Yes, there you go.
Nice.
I'll hold on to your
Yeah,
mic.
do I need
There she
to?
goes. Tag in. It's yours.
Come on in, Summer.
There you go.
Yay!
There you
Do I need to
go. Squeeze
lean
back,
up?
squeeze back.
There you go.
All right, cool.
Got it?
Fantastic.
Testing.
Like right up in there.
Yeah.
Clip it somewhere.
I mess up my jewelry.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
I know.
Kidding.
it'll be fine.
yeah. It's
Or my jewelry will mess it up.
no, maybe not.
Okay, what's the best way to do this? Here we go.
There you
I'll
go.
let you
Oh
be
yeah, no,
honest.
yeah,
Got
sorry.
it.
No,
Got it.
you're good.
I'm derelict in my duties.
What do you do around here?
Yeah, I know. Where's your glass? There you go.
He's the founder. He doesn't have to do anything.
I love this.
I love the fact that he's super hands-on. That's what
There
I
you go.
like about it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
listening to his story, his origin story, as you call it.
Yeah.
The fact that everything is
sir.
like, I'm hands-on. I do this. I do this. I do
Yeah.
this. You don't hear that a whole lot.
So something I'm curious about while we're doing this, and this one being barrel proof.
Yes.
In terms of your barrels, are y'all aging in a traditional rickhouse style? Are you palletized? Are you?
Yeah, well, okay. So that's two questions actually. The first question.
Double question.
Yeah. No, it's okay. He probably didn't even realize it. No, but I love the aging process.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm just super fascinated by it. Surprisingly, there isn't a lot of scientific study on what the barrel does to a whiskey over time and how it affects you what. And there's no like do it this way and it'll
Yeah.
be great. Everyone's just making it up as they go. So there's weirdly. You want to pass that glass over?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
It's good.
not used to a live studio audience.
So weirdly, there's a lot of art that can be had, and by art I mean kind of a natural X factor in terms of how your whiskey produces, right? So anyway, so I started on purpose when I wanted to make this stuff, is I wanted to start right from the beginning, just like I do everything else, with a 53-gallon barrel. Go real traditional right off the bat. A lot of startup craft distillers will start off with like the 30s or the smaller
Yeah.
ones, and as they kind of ramp up. I didn't want to have to look for another supplier on barrels halfway through while I was growing. Nothing wrong with it, but I didn't want to risk the flavor profile changing that much from one year to the next. At least with the standard stuff that we do. I mean, obviously, I do single barrel releases all the time, and that's just fun. But that I can control a little bit better. And to your point, we don't have a rack house yet. Not in the traditional kind of like, big Kentucky bourbon style rack house. We do put them up on skids, and probably up four high essentially. But again, they're the traditional 53-gallon barrels locked up, not climate controlled. And that's on purpose too, because again, coming from that Scotch school, unlike a lot of the craft and whiskey distilleries from like Kentucky, Texas, Oklahoma, all these places, in Montana we have a winter where the stuff actually sits.
What is that like?
Right, yeah. Instead of like the rack houses are would be 8 stories high, it's the top of a barn. And if you ever grew up on a farm like I did and had to work hay in the summer, it's horrible.
Yeah, right?
And I think you can taste the heat for some reason. You can taste that heat. If you taste my stuff and then taste something from Garrison Brothers or any of these guys, which are all fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I think you can taste that geographical element.
We call it the Texas funk.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay.
It is. That's what it is.
Dan, I did not say that.
No, I love
that.
Dan. Dan is an awesome guy.
I know. No, but I think you can taste it, and that's I think our little bit of edge. Unfortunately, what you get for that is it settles and it kind of pauses its aging process and rests. So what you could probably get for 2 years down south with the heat, it takes us about 4.
Right.
So
yeah, we've talked about that before on numerous episodes that the climate here ages faster.
It does.
Than what it does anywhere else in the country.
Well, the whiskey feels hot too when you eat. To me, if it was 100% done in Texas, those whiskeys have a hit
Yes.
Yeah.
that others don't
Yes.
have, that have taken a little bit of a different. That's just my opinion.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Not that y'all
it's
asked.
no, it's a very
No.
spot on opinion, and I love it.
yeah.
It's very spot on.
No.
Yeah.
No, and some people when you're coming into the market with a new product, you got to be super mindful of how people are perceiving that product from just generally. Like, what's it mean to like whiskey? If you've never had it, is it? I don't want to do it because it's hot. I don't like it because it's yada 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 yada. And it's just for me, I just want to be able to thread that needle and make it approachable from all sides, not just like the whiskey drinkers. If I want to approach more just standard like whiskey drinkers, instead of this being 114, I'd do that at 125.
Right.
Yeah.
But because it's 114, you still get that heat that the whiskey drinkers like, but you also get the people that I just don't want to punch you in the face, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to punch you in the face.
Come on,
With
just one
whiskey.
time.
I
Just
know,
one time.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, no.
that
So are you
initial-
going in at a lower barrel entry proof? Or
No, in fact, I mean,
are you going in at the...
when we come out, we still are, it's dry up in Montana. The Angel share can be pretty heavy, but it's, it comes out, 128, 130 kind of average. We'll still proof it down. But, but that's the thing. It's like my approach is always going to be like, okay, we're not just going to do it to do it. We're going to do it so it feels right, and it's going to be proof perfect for everyone.
Right.
And again, every product I release is kind of a personal statement for me. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that what goes out is something I agree with in terms of how you drink it. You know what I mean? So it's been really successful. So for this, what's fun is at 114, you do get that heat, but those grain flavors are going to pop like super hard out of that.
Yeah,
And you throw a little ice cube in this, and it just will.
open up.
Oh man,
He said to drink it with a peach, slice of fresh peach.
That's-
Dude, I'm dying to try that.
that's
Why
I
can't
love fresh.
yeah.
Interesting.
So the Peach Festival up in North Texas, I'm sure they have them down here too.
Oh yeah.
Grab a fresh peach, throw it in slices, throw that in the freezer for like overnight. Have a frozen peach slice, throw that in your glass with a little rock. It'll blow your doors off.
Really?
Super easy. And it frustrates him because he wants to make a whole cocktail with it. I'm like,
Right.
just throw some peach in it.
Frustrates.
Yeah. Just throw some peach in it. You'll be fine.
You're just fine. Just
Yeah.
throw it one peach. That's all you need, Rick.
Right.
I'm anxious to try that though. That sounds amazing.
And just on the nose,
think?
the one ice cube gives it a little
Isn't it
different.
pretty?
It gives it a little different profile.
Yeah.
This is apple brandy.
It's
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it comes from that old. I mean, like I was that weird guy in the parking lot opening my trunk with mason jars in it.
Oh, yeah.
And next to me was the guy who made apple brandy, right? And everyone was like, I don't know if I want to try that. That guy's weird. You say you made that in your tub?
You did what? No thanks. Good. It's got a little hint of dial in it.
There you go.
So,
That's really good. Though.
Yes.
what is your
Yes.
association with Ghostwood? Did they just kind of
Well, first of all, say your name.
surprise?
and
Yes.
Where you're from.
Int- I'm sorry. Introduce yourself and where you're from.
I've been in the background, so they already
Yeah,
knew who I
we-
was. So
Yeah.
I'm Summer Sanford. I run the Women's Whiskey Society. We started in 2022. Like my friend here, I was laid off. And then I told them, screw
ready for
it,
the
I'm
gig
not going
economy."
in to get terminated. And then it's going in to get fired, whatever. And then they really terminated me for insubordination. So Now you know my story.
Wow.
Yeah.
like
So,
the
Fiery redhead.
little bit. So I walked into this great little steakhouse and ended up having this weird vantage point because the guy that terminated me pissed me off so bad that I was just sitting here trying to figure out what was I gonna do next. I just took a big pay cut, and I liked whiskey, but I didn't know a lot about it. And I thought, I
Right.
wonder if there's other women that would kind of feel the same way and want to learn. And then what happened was I walked into this bar. There are these two women sitting drinking, probably having, their feet might have hurt. They just weren't moving, okay? Women wear stupid shoes. Look at mine today. That's a whole other subject. So at any rate, these guys were walking, getting their old fashions and their cigars, and I thought I really would like to learn what I think they already know. I would like to have a safe place for women to come every month and just learn what the men allegedly already knew. And I'm saying that gently because there's a story attached to that. So we started the Women's Whiskey Society there. And the guy that owns it, Doug, I wouldn't have started this if it hadn't been for two men in my life, Doug Meisinger, who owns that steak company in Kemah, and also my husband, who's been instrumental with this whole thing, who started drinking scotch and thought it would be funny for me to take a really heavy scotch and tell me to swish it around in my mouth. That's how I'm supposed to drink
We
it.
did that with you.
Yeah.
So his first scotch
got
ever,
hazed.
I tell everybody this story. We introduced him to Ardbeg's Wee Beastie first rip out. Never had a scotch before in his life.
Oh, that's not nice. It's awful.
It's absolutely
that is
terrible.
the most
Yeah.
miserable experience. Because I'm just looking going, no, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after your mouth comes back. Anyway, so
Hair on the chest.
we had
Not your chest.
Well,
Is it dark yet? Have we already hit to the after dark?
what
a
was
little
it?
early.
Journey to the Dark Side?
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah, no, I'm kidding. So, no, anyway, we had our first group. We had 18 people. I was told, be glad if you have 6, show up. And I was like, nah.
And you had
Yeah.
18 on
18
your
ladies.
first thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we're super excited about that. And then we branched out in the Houston area to have 4 different chapters, and we do events all over. I was with them in Galveston. We've got some really cool stuff planned with them in Galveston, and we've done yacht excursions and all sorts of fun stuff. So getting terminated was one of the best things ever happened to me. It sucked in the beginning, but man, it's been great since
I feel
then.
I'm going to have to try that.
Get
Terminated going to something
Y'all make it sound so good.
Make it sound really...
You
The key
know,
is to get
they-
fired.
Yeah.
You
Unemployment.
can't quit. You can't quit. You gotta get
It's
fired.
like,
Yeah.
So I was laid off at first, and that didn't show up, and I got terminated.
Right,
So,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, that's me. But yeah, so
So-
I
So
you
what do
have
y'all
5
do?
chapters.
I mean, like, you just meet and drink whiskey, or
So, yeah.
that's exactly
Look,
what we
you nailed
do.
it.
So
That's
typically,
exactly what we
we
do.
run 6 to 6:30. We'll do light bites and like an introductory cocktail. We have a different supplier every month, and then we have a whiskey tasting that starts from 6:30 to 7:30. And so, through the span of the last year, we've made some great relationships and spent a lot of money and time on getting our website up and running to where the brand was great. And then wives were going home telling their husbands, oh, did you know this? Oh, did you know that? And they go, no.
How do you know that?
No.
Yeah.
And so
What is
then
going on?
so then guys started coming in going, well, how do we be a part of it? And I was like, ooh, I don't know. Because I built this brand around women-centric
Right.
events.
Right.
And I thought, what do I do? So then actually, Lucas was nice enough to come in and do a Meet the Maker event for Whiskey in the City. So Whiskey in the City, our members get discounts
Offshoot.
on the tickets that we have. And then
Okay.
Whiskey in the City is actually what we do for blended events around Houston. So, and soon to be called Texas, but I have a belief to go slow to go fast. So,
I like it.
so 4 chapters and growing, and
4
Beaumont's on the list. We just haven't gotten here over this area yet, but yeah. So we're having a blast. But yeah, we provide a captive consumer audience for distillers, and we love it because we get to meet awesome people like him. And culture is a big part of what we do. And so when I was talking to Lucas, I go, look, I just need to know that our cultures match because I'm a huge relationship person. My past life was business banking, so I was big on helping small businesses grow and doing lending for them.
She works at a bank, you don't say.
And
It
then-
seems like we always harken back to that.
Are you
Both of our wives work at credit unions.
okay?
Oh, yeah,
So
nice.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
all...
So then, but then I also knew the power of a culture to attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. And then somewhere in there, I learned what good whiskey was. So there was a learning lesson in there that was interesting and different. I didn't know there was bad whiskeys. There absolutely 100% are bad whiskeys. I will not name names, but it was awful.
Oh, I
So-
will. Redneck Riviera. Horrible. horrible.
That sounds
That was in the
scary.
first year we did that, and it was no.
yeah. So
Never again.
No.
yeah, I called them. I said, look, it kind of had a sulfur nose to it, and they said, well, maybe it's just too high proof for the ladies.
Ooh.
See, Brent,
Really?
okay.
Maybe.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
You'll never
Why,
be back.
is-
why would you say that?
I know.
It was just not good. I don't think he liked me telling him it smelled like sulfur on the nose.
Huh.
For
Well-
the record, I did drink it
Yeah.
just to be nice,
So,
As a
so
distiller.
I'm curious, how did it drink?
like sulfur on the nose.
Okay.
Like
So
it
the nose
stuck
and
your
the,
head
the
in a
nose and the palate were on
toilet.
the same page then.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love
Not
it.
good.
True ranch water.
So when I got Ghostwood, when Ghostwood was sent to me, came across. I go, Lucas, look, I love you. I think you're great for our culture. We fit great. I go, but I got to try it because I made that mistake once and I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And he sent the bottles and he asked me to wait, and I didn't. I
course
opened
not.
them right up
You have
and
to.
called him and go, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
And we had a virtual tasting at the house where
Yeah.
we did some stuff for veterans for Valentine's Day, and he did a whiskey tasting for us virtually, and it was to die for. And everybody, I mean, one of the girls said, I think this is my new favorite. The other ones surprisingly liked the higher proof, and we liked the way that it opened up in comparison to the 90
Yeah,
proof, but both of them are
That
fantastic.
barrel proof you add just literally one ice cube, it changes the whole dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
of it.
No, and it even changes the nose.
Yeah, it changes
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
part of it.
So it's
The
like
nose,
you
the
get two
whole
whiskeys
run.
in one.
Crazy.
So what is your? I mean, what's your connection? Why the Women's Whiskey Society? Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. I make the joke where I run my business on serendipity, essentially. So I mean, opportunities approach themselves. When you're in business, you gotta take them in stride, and you gotta be positive about the whole thing. Summer actually met Rick at the Southeast
Oh,
Nope.
Whiskey
it's
Festival.
Southeast Texas. No.
Nope.
No?
Rick called me out of the
Did I say
blue.
I called her.
Oh, called her out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Okay, so Rick called her out of the blue, and he actually reported to me. He's like, I met this fantastic lady at the Women's Whiskey Society. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Let's check it out. And I'm already like super positive about it, obviously, because that's kind of like I love when women like my drink. It's kind of one of my goals. So I of course just started working with her as much as I could. We actually started on the phone, obviously, because Montana, Texas. We had
Not
great.
like you can get in the car and drive.
No, unfortunately not. Sometimes I wish I can. But we had great 3-hour-long conversations.
It was
sometimes.
long. It
Yeah,
didn't feel that long, though.
we just talk for hours. But we connected really well, just in spirit, at least over the phone. And then when I finally got her, I thought Rick had actually left her a bottle. I'm surprised she didn't even taste it yet. Sent her down and stuff like next day, and then did that tasting with them, and it was fantastic. And her members are knowledgeable and they're great, and they have high standards. So it's
Very nice.
for the people listening, if you want to get involved with, and you're female and you like whiskey, and you want to get involved with this group because they are
I appreciate
they
that.
I
are
want to get
legit.
involved, and I'm not female.
All right. Well, that's why we have
We
the
can
whiskey
work
society.
that out. We can work that out.
But no, it's been fun, and actually we've got, I mean, nothing's for sure set in stone, but when we get together, brainstorm happens.
Oh, of course, it's the best
So,
kind.
but one of the things we're looking at, specifically in Galveston, is just one of the ideas.
We have so many.
But one of the ideas is actually like a ghost walk through the graveyards with Ghostwood
Oh, that
whiskey
would be cool.
in Galveston,
We already
Texas.
They
have
do
that
have
set
some
up.
really
Actually,
good-
that's already set up. The
Oh, yeah.
weekend is what we're working on.
That's right.
Oh.
So yeah,
They
we
do
have
have
a
some
ghost
really good
walk with
ghost
Ghostwood.
tours.
Yeah.
Yes, I did one while I was in Galveston.
Galveston.
Loved it.
Was it cool?
So
It was.
Good.
I went
simpatico.
by
Very
an antique
sympathetic.
store that used to be a brothel.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
And there was a bunch of stuff that happened, and
Very
they were telling
nice.
us about it. And of course, when you're in a group of people, never ask the question, "Hey, do you think they'll let me stay the night?" Because the answer is always no.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Not
not.
going to stay the night.
So we've always been huge advocates of women in whiskey.
Oh, God.
We
love
talk
that.
about it all the
Everything from
time.
Mama
We've
and
posted
Green
it
to
on our
I love
Facebook
them.
multiple times.
Nancy to
Nancy Fraley is absolutely amazing. We follow each other on our Instagram pages. But everybody from Marianne to Nancy to you name it.
Heather Green.
Heather Green.
Yeah, I mean
Marsha Milam.
Marsha Milam.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many, and it's continuously growing, and that's really awesome. And we,
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
even the ladies at small ones like in Nacogdoches.
Oh yeah, the front porch.
Yes,
Yeah.
Front Porch Distillery. That's
Front Porch in
a
Nac.
pretty local one.
Yes.
No,
What
but
are-
I've had their stuff, and it's
Have
good.
you?
Yeah, it's not
Awesome.
bad. It's,
Okay,
I
is
like it a lot.
that okay? What's the name of it again?
Front
their
Porch
whiskey
Distillery,
is 19
19
Oaks.
Oaks.
That's it.
Okay.
I've talked to the daughter
Yes.
of Taylor, I
Yes.
love her.
She's
And
fantastic.
they're
They're
bringing
absolutely-
into Houston. I am so
yes.
stoked. Taylor, if you're listening to this, we got to talk more.
I think we can tag front porch.
I'm sure we
Yeah,
can figure
tag
that
it.
out. But
Yeah, no, I'm
It
super
doesn't have to be the
stoked.
Goes
Love
to show
her.
all the way.
Sorry.
Just for a little bit.
Yeah.
just for a little while. But so, what are y'all doing to expand that? Like, what are you
The
doing to make
women-centric.
yes to make
the
sure
women's movement, so
to
to
make
speak?
sure women are getting into whiskey because it can be. I'm sure it can be very intimidating
It is.
seeing whiskey, women, knowing what whiskey is, knowing, like you said, guys just inherently know more about whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a little intimidating.
Well, it is, and a lot of ladies have had some bad experience in college and high school.
Shot,
With
shot,
whiskey.
shot, shot, shot.
We all
So when somebody comes up, they go, "I don't drink whiskey," and I'm like, "What did you do wrong?" And they go,
Who hurt you?
Yeah.
yeah. So it was. So the answer to that is
Show me in the doll.
How much? How much? Tell me when to stop. It's okay.
show me on the dollar.
So
that's
what
so
ends up
funny.
happening is during our events, there's some of us that are more experienced than others. So we don't cough when we just smell it, right? And then I'm like,
Right.
okay. So when I see that happening, I'm like, all right. And I'll talk to the supplier who also is probably pretty expert at drinking whiskey, and go, can you slow down and teach them how to nose it and how to smell different profiles and how to sip it first slightly and how all the things. So that's something that I feel like we do a really good job of bringing people into actually learning how to sip something that's higher proof, because most women drink vodka and wine. And so it's a breakthrough for them. And so now I've got one member that cracks me up. She'll drink it neat everywhere now, and she was totally just a wine and vodka girl, and
Yeah.
she scares me a little. I'm like, whoa, don't do that. She's like,
Slow
whoa,
down.
So the other part that I think too is, from a historical perspective, which Luke will appreciate this, is women lured men in with whiskey for prostitution.
Yeah.
So, and still to this day, we're breaking that mold, but our events are all upper crust to where there's a dress code. We dress in the theme of the bottles. We make sure that people don't show up starting in Kima, I'm like, please don't come in with fish chums and all over you and Daisy Dukes to the event, because that's not happening, because that's not our brand. So we are a luxury brand that does
So no
premium
coconut
whiskeys.
bras?
Well, not on that event.
Oh,
Not on that event. So,
Really?
I mean, I have one at the house I was thinking about wearing.
Okay, so you know where.
If I want to wear my coconut bra, I'm going to wear it.
You know
it's
where.
just, it's okay. No, not on that event. But, so no, we just have fun, and it's interesting to watch women not only learn how to drink whiskey, but feel more confident after they come to a few events. They start becoming friends and feeling like they can kind of come out of their shell and talk instead of sit there and just watch everything. I call them my wolves. It's really cool. But so,
No, it's great.
does that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. No,
She used the Whiskey Wolves thing. You wouldn't let me use it.
Oh. Shots fired.
So to me, that's somebody. So people think wolves are like super aggressive. To me, they sit back, they watch,
Right.
they sniff around when everybody's gone. They don't. So that's why.
Well, it's
use
like
that.
a pack mentality, too. You kind of take care
It
of
is.
your own.
It
Yeah.
is.
So,
It is,
I
and
got
that
you.
was also something we learned, is that women can be super cliquey, and they'll come in their own groups, and they'll travel in herds, and they'll sit together. And so we do a one big long table to create a space where everybody just kind of has to sit across from each other. And so there's just little things that we've learned, but yeah, so that's another part of it.
I love the fact that it's all themed.
Yeah.
You're a big theme
If
guy. Yes,
you
you're-
go back,
Oh,
and,
the colors
if
theme
you
thing,
if
you
you
would
go back
totally
and
dig
watch
it.
a lot of my videos, like I did Guadalupe, since we brought up Garrison Brothers,
Yeah.
I did Guadalupe a couple nights ago, and I had this hoodie on with an orange undershirt because the orange on the bottle.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I do. I try to
so-
color
That's
coordinate
cool.
a lot of my stuff.
So
but
it's, most of the time it's to the bottles. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's to the theme of the month, like
Right.
St. Patrick's Day or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
I like it.
But no.
so y'all
partnering
just did
with-
an event in Houston, right?
Yes.
What was that event like, and what all did that entail?
Well, you should talk about that.
Well, I don't know. I don't want
to.
to take. Okay, so I'm trying to, So at any rate,
She
the
graciously
event-
brought us in, and we just, wrecked house. That's what we do.
So most of the time, we don't get the maker in. So it's really special to have Lucas here, because I think the heart of the company and the juice really comes out whenever you have the maker, as you probably well know. So I was really excited that he was coming in, although he didn't tell me till last minute.
Well, he
I
didn't-
don't communicate.
Actually,
I don't fault him for that. I just could have done a lot more. I think.
Well, for
if
what
he
it's
would've
worth,
told
we
me.
didn't know you were coming either.
That's, you know what?
No clue.
I got
Literally.
it. So we had light hors d'oeuvres that Whiskey Cake provided, and we had our own little private dining room, and we just had him go through the
Yeah.
3 SKUs and expressions that he brought, and then this one has so many wonderful cocktails. We had 4 cocktails that night that you made.
I'll tell you right now, when my wife found out this one was showing up, she looks at me and goes, "Hey, I don't care what you have to do. When it's over, I want a cowboy mojito." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am."
Okay,
There you go.
those things were a hit.
Oh God,
Yes.
yes, they're
Those
so
things
good.
So-
were a hit.
Kind of, and you can please continue. Are any of the cocktails that you, Rick's been making cocktails behind the scenes, everybody. Are any of these things that you featured at this dinner?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, why don't we bring
Yeah,
one up
let's
while
do
she
it.
Bring
continues
one
to
up.
talk about it?
let's do it.
And by the way, if we're being honest, I thought you were an Uber driver.
Dang!
I didn't know what was going on.
Oh my God.
I was like, "Dang, that hurt an
A
Uber
2-hour Uber driver.
We got a pretty nice car for an Uber driver.
2-hour cruise.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a Uber
so-
bill.
I'd rather you call me
Right?
Ginger from frickin' Gilligan's Island.
I
than
can see that too."
Okay, so the first one, as she said, this to me is.
Get him on, Mike.
Oh.
Are you on, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Here, take mine. I'm just standing here look pretty. That's
I'm just standing here and look pretty.
what I do.
Let me get all mic'd up here.
Just for the intro.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this here, oh yeah, oh there we go.
Right there.
Is the world famous cowboy mojito.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
It's
what we first
incredible.
came up with as far as a cocktail to come out with these. All these cocktails that I've created that I made them easy enough that anybody can do them at home.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it at home. But
I told him that specifically
yeah,
because that was a big deal for
That's
me.
smart.
I want it simple.
no, I don't. You know, and I know she likes her roasted marshmallows. Yeah. So, but anyway,
Guilty.
yeah. But this here,
Well, that's
We'll tell you that in a
yeah.
minute.
spoiler alert.
But this here, I came up with this at a house party one time, and it was the blended of all the flavors that are inside of this has just turned this into a hit. And the biggest thing with this is that it's made with whiskey.
Right.
So that's the cowboy
So if you're a
mojito.
whiskey fan and you're looking for that summer drink,
Very nice.
Yeah,
finally,
Yep.
here
Or
it
if you
is.
have people that say they don't like whiskey,
right.
make them that.
Make them
Right.
mad.
So-
yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
feel
Well,
like.
yeah.
Make 'em mad.
Yeah.
That's right. See,
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it. Go.
He goes, don't mind if I
We
do.
don't have a straw or nothing?
Don't mind if I do.
No,
That wasn't on the list.
no, that was my fault.
It was not on the list. But you could have poured it in your glass or something.
It's fine. It's fine. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
So there you go. No. Okay.
Not make a mess.
Yeah, good
Look.
luck.
Okay.
And half is on the table.
Yeah.
There we go. All
Not
right.
half.
There you go.
3/4. You want them towels over there?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
That's why we have bar mats.
That's right.
I'm good.
We've never.
I will make a
Go.
100% mess
we've
of that.
never-
Yeah,
Yeah, no worries.
absolutely.
We've never had bar mats. This
There
is
you go.
all new to me.
Yeah.
Cut me some slack.
Watch
Watch your
yours.
keyboard.
watch
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, oh no.
There's 4 years on the floor.
Okay, while
There
you're
we go.
pouring here, you do that since this is your house kind of thing. Go ahead and pour me some in that.
And that, I got you.
Oh, she won't.
Whoa, 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 whoa. She's got whiskey in there, man.
That's what
No,
she
no, no.
wants.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what she
yeah.
wants.
That's what she
Yeah,
wants.
that's what she wants. Yeah.
Make it stronger.
Yeah,
You're
she's
not
like, I want it
wasting
stronger.
Okay.
anything.
I'll
Thank
just sit
you.
over
So-
here. I'll be
I got
quiet.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not wasting
Let the women
it.
work.
Lucas,
That's what you want
it's
to.
a lot of hard work of yours.
I know.
So, pouring up cocktails, you happen to have the founder there. Is it a dinner? Is it a
It
just
was-
going
it's-
through
it's-
the whiskey? Is
It
it?
was just
man,
going
that's
through the whiskey with him talking about, you know, the behind the scenes parts of it and letting people get to know him and creating a relationship with the bottle, basically. I mean, because that's ultimately what you want, is you want people to go, oh, I met Lucas, he was the greatest guy, and Rick, oh my gosh, you have to have his mojito. That's what we want people to take away from it, is going, you know, it's a great company with great people and damn good whiskey.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's there was candlelight. They had
Yep,
their recipes on the table. They had we had everybody got their plates at first, and you know it was just, I thought it was a really cool event personally. But
Yeah.
I mean we just had a good time. It was laid back conversation style,
So
which
it's
is better.
fancier than Applebee's on a date night.
A little bit.
Literally everything is
Right.
fancy.
And,
little bit.
and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little fancier in Casa Lake too. You know,
Okay. Now,
Well, can't go wrong with Castle Lake.
So-
it's good.
so during the dinner, we started off with the mojito, then we did the flask. We ended up with
Oh,
the.
God,
This is
no.
called the Heavenly
So
Ghost.
good.
Yeah.
Heavenly
It's-
Ghost.
It's our martini made with the ghostwood.
Oh my God,
And
it's so good.
this right here, and I'll let Luke say this because
Yeah.
Luke told me about, he showed me, he had a podcast that was out of the, and they actually mentioned this. But I'll let you guys try that and see.
Yeah, go for it. Don't worry about being messy.
But everybody
Fine.
fell in
Smart
love with
having
this.
that
Everybody fell in
Oh,
love with
this one. This is why he was talking about the right? Isn't this why you're talking about the
Yep.
marshmallow?
Yeah.
Come here, your glass.
So, I recently was given an espresso
Okay,
martini
I
with
got a
a
little
homemade
Yeah, I got-
marshmallow
oh, I
that
got
was
this one.
toasted.
Oh.
And so there's a joke that I love my marshmallows now.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh,
There you go.
Come.
thank you.
There you
It's killing me to pass that up, but I'm gonna be like,
Yeah. It's
Smells
Ghosta's
like a
version of
chocolate
the
milkshake.
classic
Tastes
chocolate
like one, too.
martini, but
Yeah.
it's with whiskey.
No, yeah.
And it tastes like a French silk pie.
It really does. Yeah.
My God.
So what all is in this one?
I gotta tell you that.
Oh.
No, I'm just
oh
teasing.
my god.
No, I can't tell you that.
The founder's telling us what's in the whiskey.
Yeah.
This guy can't tell us in a cocktail.
Okay, go to the cocktail.
Like, this is all
Slide
ass
them
backwards
gently.
and shit.
This is almost basically like a chocolate martini. So it's got, instead of vodka, we're using Ghostwood whiskey, the 90 proof. I use a little bit of Bailey's Irish cream with it, a chocolate liqueur, and heavy whipping cream, and that's it.
Yeah.
I shake it really well on this one just to get the combination of everything to flow together.
Right.
And then I top it off with shaved dark chocolate.
It's really
Did you
good.
see that Amy that was at our meeting said Cowboy Mojito was fabulous?
There you go.
Ah, there you go.
That's one of our members.
Amy.
Hello, Amy.
Awesome.
All right.
Amy, thank you for tuning in.
So,
We appreciate
and then
it.
Luke was showing me this podcast. Some guy was doing a podcast on the whiskey. And
Another podcast.
Another podcast, but we didn't know who this was. It was just on the radio, and they even mentioned the Heavenly Ghost, and they came back and said that, you know, there's a big chocolate factory or chocolate store up in Vegas.
Yeah, you telling me that.
Yeah, and then the guy said that they have a whole line of martinis. He said this blows them away.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm very.
Was
very
that
glad.
one the Savor of the Sip? Is that the one?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. But it was just really good to hear. I mean, Rick doesn't usually get mentioned on the podcast. I mean, everyone's all the whiskey stuff, you know?
So good.
Glencairn's on the bottom.
So,
Yeah.
all right, now this one here, it's the Harvest Moon Bloody Mary.
I had that one at whiskey.
This right here, guys, if you drink it, if you love Bloody Marys, you will not go back to vodka with this. This here, I compare it like this. You can either have a cup of soup or you can have a meal. This right here,
Yeah.
you get the smoky, oaky flavor from the barrel in this thing. And this is something that you can drink at outside a campfire, waking up. I mean, just the full body effect you get on
Brunch.
this thing is fantastic.
It's for brunch.
You can grab that box.
Oh, you bet.
Or
Okay,
mad
there you go.
hangover.
Gotcha.
So I would say, just one of you guys, if you guys want to just take a sip of that, and we'll just let that be the review on it. We don't have to share it all.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
gonna.
not
I'll
doing
be.
that
I'll
one.
be completely honest. I do not.
I'll be the guinea
I
pig.
do not
Yeah.
like Bloody
Do
Marys
you
at
like
all.
tomatoes?
Then we
Like
would have
cold
to kill
tomato
our
soup and
glasses.
stuff? Because I
Bomb
don't.
No, not
You
cold
do?
tomatoes.
I don't.
You won't drink
I can't
it
do that.
first.
That's
I like.
what I think it is.
I mean,
It's cold
it's
tomato
hot,
stuff.
I like
It's a great
hot
way to go.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
With the grilled cheese.
Heck yeah, dip that stuff in there.
You stir it?
But that, I don't
Would
do
be
it
good with
either.
grilled cheese.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Food pairings.
I did like that one though. I tasted it and I was like,
But
okay, if I was gonna drink
see
it,
what
it
I'm
would
talking
be
about with
that.
it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, you're getting the flavor of the whiskey behind it.
Yeah.
At the back end of it.
We went to a hotel in Galveston and they fell in love with that.
Tony Sasher in
So, what was your favorite
No.
cocktail of the evening?
Nope.
This one.
The Cowboy Mojito.
Bundled it fresh.
And then this
Now,
one.
Good Lord,
And then-
Rick.
Oh my god. And I love
That
the
one's really good.
The mimosa.
There you go.
Is that
This is the one that she loves.
that one is dangerous for me and no.
So this
But
is
yes.
this is the
No, but yes.
this is the Morning Glory. Now quit.
Yeah.
Morning Glory mimosa. I made this basically for a place down in Key West.
Okay.
And they had a full menu of mimosas, and I was trying. How am I going to get this in there to where
Yeah.
it's pleasing enough for a Sunday morning, to where it's not going to kill you
Right.
and everything. Took me a while to come up with this, but all the ingredients, but the lemon's what pulled this thing together. So if you something, this one here, I mean, just a little taste of it.
It's
You're
good.
going to get the glass. So
It's really good.
She's like, you're gonna get the glass.
Yeah, she's gonna
You're
get the
gonna
glass.
get the taste.
No,
See, to me, no. No.
I'll take it. I'll get you. I got
I
you.
love it.
No.
This is a safe place. Everybody kick back, relax.
It's safe,
drink,
but we
it's
gotta
fine.
drive home.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm getting on a plane after this. I'm good.
yeah, he needs
You
this.
just
so,
get
yeah.
to ride.
Yeah.
I need this
I'm
to
being
get on the plane.
responsible.
Right.
So,
I
Being
hate
responsible. I'm only tasting a little.
Hate flying?
I do. I hate it. I'm horrible. It's like to get me on a plane. It takes a couple of drinks and a couple of pills. I always have to do that. It's part of my routine.
That's interesting.
So your dad's gotten brought up a couple times, and if I'm speaking out of turn, please.
Yeah. No. That's fine.
What was his role in bringing all this together? And
Yeah.
how does family kind of tie
Prosecco.
into this whole thing? Because like you said, your wife hated you in the beginning about it.
Well, yeah.
If I'm not, you've got kids, you've got your dad that was a big
Yep.
part of this.
Yeah.
How does all that kind of tie in together, and what was his role?
Well, I mean, for me, it kind of starts. Rick,
No, it's
God dang, son.
There's another one.
Yeah, I guess it's
The sad thing about it, he
Yeah.
literally.
Let the poor man tell about his dad
I
before he
feel like
bring more
Rick
drinks.
set me up because he literally waited until I'd finished the mimosa, turned my glass upside down on the bar mat, and then he goes,
Here.
he's like, go ahead. And I'm like,
Well, this one nobody's had.
okay.
This is the
Is that the
sangria. This is one of the original ones. So
Anyway,
that's it. Yeah.
let me just
go
finish
yeah,
this. Though.
finish this.
ahead. Yeah.
While I finish this,
Yeah, you're good. You're good. No.
Focus.
I actually, in my past life, I come from. I would have been. Let's say this. I would have been fourth generation of a family company, essentially. Before that got shut down, and my family sold it. So I entered into this enterprise fully expecting to continue on with another family business.
Right.
Right. Which is weirdly rare for some of these craft whiskey distilleries. I mean, they'll say it, but you can tell the ones that are kind of like we're gonna blast and then we're gonna sell.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
I don't know if you've seen much of that, but that's a big
Don't
deal. So
say.
yeah, no. My whole plan is to eventually pass this on to my daughter or my son one day, and hopefully it continues from there. So that was always a big part of it. But my dad, his past life, he was CEO of the same manufacturing company. So I wanted someone with obviously some big deal work experience, you know, in terms of how to run a business, how to get it going. In his past life, he started a couple other businesses as well. So he just had some great insight. And he's you know, he's getting up there in age, but he's never really retired. He's just that guy who just can't stop moving.
Yeah.
So, at least for my sake, I wanted to give him something to do with his time, and he's been fantastic. I actually was able recently to finally tell him to. I didn't fire him, but take a seat,
you're going to have to take a back seat, roll.
take a seat, relax, have a breath.
Have a drink.
Yeah, have a drink, and he's still very much involved as advisor and stuff like that. But in the early days, right? I mean, for like the first 3 years, it was he was pretty much the go forward guy, trying to kick my ass in the distillery and make sure we get it all out in time, yada yada yada. So, without him, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we had gotten there. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
I love stories like that.
Sure.
So, kind of in the same breath, and I don't know anything about your background, but why whiskey? How did you get into whiskey? Why whiskey? Was it a
My
family
husband
thing?
torturing me.
Okay.
No, actually,
That makes
I really,
sense. I mean,
no, honest to God,
Raw
no.
dog. It's
No.
like my husband
I'm
told
trying to
me.
get. I'm trying to
honest to
figure that
God
out so I
just-
can make my wife do the same thing.
Well, I wanted to. Well, maybe she can help me with a chapter right here. But I wanted to create an opportunity for me to learn, and I used this as a vector to do that and make money at the same time.
Yeah.
And I also, y'all are gonna think this is crazy, but I was listening to another podcast, and Carol Burnett was on there, and I was looking at some of the distilleries, thinking maybe I want to work for a distillery. And then I realized that I'm pretty entrepreneurial, so working for somebody else again just didn't sound exciting or sexy
I
at
can
all.
only get to that point.
And then,
I'm almost there.
You
I'm
will.
almost there.
I have faith in you.
I work for a distributor currently, so I'm almost there.
Carol Burnett lived in a house with a bunch of actresses.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she was told is this guy that was an agent, he goes, call me when you get your own show. And so she went back to this room and she said, we're going to make our own show. So she made her own road, and so did I.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
Nice.
what it all kind of circumvents around, which ties into Lucas's vision, which I love, because it's nice to talk to visionaries because they may not know 100% of how they're going to get there, but they know what they want at the end.
Yeah.
And if you build a culture like he's done with Ghostwood, with the bottle and all the things, and then have an outreach that's more grassroots, I feel like the relationships last a lifetime. And the friends I've made in this,
Yeah.
like Lucas and Rick, and now you guys,
Absolutely.
it's just been, it's what whiskey does.
And
Yeah.
definitely
So-
going to make sure we follow you on Facebook.
Yes.
Where can everybody find you and follow?
So at the Women's Whiskey Society, that's us. And so we're on Instagram as the Women's Whiskey Society. I'm Summer Sanford on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can see me as the president and founder of the Women's Whiskey Society, and you'll see a bunch of Ghostwood coming up
No
real
way.
soon.
You don't say. Bunch of ghosts.
All right, let's let Rick talk. He's dying to talk about this.
No, it's okay. I'm good.
No, what we got?
Well, this here is our Afterglow Sangria. It's one of the first. It's one of the first ones that we came up with, and everybody's like, "How did you make this with the whiskey?" But if you think about it, wine and whiskey go together really well, as far as palate wise. So that's what this is right here.
No.
So
It's beautiful.
Yep.
It is.
So, but I think we should talk about the rye.
Yeah.
Or do you want to? Yeah.
You want to move on?
Is the rye in that?
No, but I do have a rye one.
It's the rye.
No.
No.
Wondered.
I did.
To
I did.
Rick, he just wants me to talk about the whiskey so he can serve his cocktails.
That's right.
He does fancy stuff with these cocktails. Don't put it past
So
him
this
to
is
put
the
it right.
one I am most interested in because
Yeah.
last year I dove headfirst into the whole rye whiskey scene
Yeah.
and absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I love rye whiskeys. I mean,
What do you like about it?
I don't know. It's different than what I'm used to because
Yeah.
Roy always jokes that I have the sweeter palate of the two of us. Like I lean sweet, I lean floral,
Sure.
but I dove into this rye whiskey thing and it was like a blast to my palate. It was like earthy and grassy and different. And
Yeah.
and what's crazy about it is how different they all are.
Right.
Like some of them are a little greener, some of them are a little, spearminty. Some of them, there's just how are they so different and why? Like
Right.
my brain,
Spicy?
yeah, and it makes my brain just kind of click, like in a
You
weird
know,
way.
honestly, I love rye. If it's not Scotch, my second favorite's rye, and then third is bourbon for me. And I initially wanted to start Ghostwood with that mash bill. But then you look at the numbers, you're like, okay,
Right.
bourbon. So we'll do that, and then we'll come out with the rye. And so really what it is for me is the rye is kind of the culmination of the success of our first phase of our plan, right? I'm finally getting this out here, and it's really the first mash bill that I really loved for myself. No, rye is fantastic. Ours is a little bit unusual in that it's a 4-grain, as opposed to your
Yes.
standard rye recipe, which is max 3, usually 2, depending on where you're getting it from.
Yeah.
Rye and then barley, or rye, a little bit of corn and barley.
Yeah,
Rye, a little bit of wheat and barley. It's like 95% rye.
yeah. So, and that was I was really curious why 4-grain. You don't see that
Yeah.
a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
It's either 95.5 or it's the Kentucky barely legal rye, 51% rye, and then
Right.
corn and barley.
Yeah, no, again, my approach to this was the same as the approach with the bourbon, which is I really just wanted to create something that tasted good to me, first and foremost.
Summer.
Yeah.
I can drive back. So
Say again?
I can drive back.
I'm okay.
I can drive
I'm not.
back.
I'm still. No, I'm not drinking any more than this.
Okay,
Nope.
okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So,
So I'm curious on how your mojito is, because I noticed it was with a little bit of the.
That double-
It's
yeah,
damn
that
delicious, is what it is.
I like it.
Damn delicious.
So what we're drinking here on this bottle in particular, this is our Founders Select series. This was released last year, actually. So this is 3 years old. This is pre-release.
You got good legs, bro.
Yeah, she's got good legs. She's got great drape. No, I actually, as of September of this year, this will be 4. This whiskey will be 4 years old.
It's
finally.
got the same birthday as me.
Yeah. So this rye will eventually meet its way onto our standard product line for what we call O&D, or the fall
Right.
whiskey run, right, in the market. So I'm really super pumped about it. It'll be 4 years old. It'll be ready to go. But we're going to taste, again, it's the mash bill on this is going to be 60% Montana rye, straight from the farm, right? So you're going to get actually more of a little bit, you're going to get a little fruity flavor on there. There's a little bit of fruit,
I'm gonna
but
tell
also
you
with the
right
spice.
now what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Juicy fruit gum meets Big Red.
Yep. That's a really great way of doing it. It's a big flavor,
Yeah, big profile.
Big.
profile.
but it still has the same ghostwood all the way across the ton, all the way to the back, smooth on the way down.
This one to me has a little more of that tongue tingle.
Yeah.
Because you started
sure.
picking it up on the barrel proof. There was a little, subtle bit of it there.
Right.
This just says,
Yeah.
here it is.
Now, if that's what you want, we're gonna give it to you here. It's the Star, so at 60%, it's the Montana rye, and then actually a high 30% on the Midwest sweet corn I get from Illinois, and then again that's just at 10% wheat, a little bit of barley. You're off and running. You know what I mean? So,
I like it.
we're differentiating ourselves a little bit from like your standard wheated bourbon. You kind of understand what that means.
Right.
The Crown Royals, the Maker Marks, those kinds of things. Pendletons. You're right.
Apparently, that's the big deal right now, though.
many
I am
people
so
lose
tired
their
of-
mind over Blackberry
I am
Crown
so
right
tired of
now.
hearing
I
about
absolutely
Blackberry
wanna be
Crown.
like, why?
I've never tried it.
Why, God?
Comes
why?
in a nice bag.
Yeah.
Is that
That's what
what
you
we're going
need,
for
a
now?
bag.
Nice. You need to go
Apparently,
somewhere?
I need a bag. Well, I need a bag. I need
And
like a little
wax
horse on
and-
top.
No, you need a
And then-
tree topper. That's what you need.
That's right,
You need
okay,
a
yeah.
tree topper.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Trees.
No, but this is a passion project for me. This rye in particular, because I love rye.
It's a
I love the
beautiful rye.
spiciness.
It's very good.
Delicious. It makes your mouth salivate.
Yes.
That's right.
absolutely.
Very much so.
It's that buttery juiciness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It doesn't quit on you halfway across the tongue. It goes all the way back.
I think coats very well.
Yeah. So again, it's just a passion project.
So that's
Everything I do.
that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
With Scotch
I was
being your
just looking at
first
that, yeah.
love, did the bottle design have anything to do with the Brooklotic bottle?
Oh yeah. Actually, no. The original inspiration for the bottle was actually like an Irish like ceramic bottle, like
Yeah.
the old school ones with like the ring hooks.
Okay.
I
So
have one of those actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
Jack Daniels one's from White Rabbit Saloon. I don't know where the hell White
Yeah.
Rabbit
Me
Saloon
neither.
is, but
yeah, it's a traditional play, and actually right from the beginning, I didn't care about people actually being able to see it.
Yeah.
So, our version of it, obviously, we had to modify it. It's just glass,
Regular
but it's
beer or
painted,
spicy?
and it decorates
Spicy
really well.
beer?
But
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Scotch,
good very much.
and I'm a big fan. And anyone who's listening who hasn't had a chance to, there's a new area of
That's- to me,
Scotland
that would be the best
called
one.
Campbellstown.
Okay.
You've heard of Highland, you've heard of Islay, yada yada yada. Campbellstown, super tiny peninsula on the southwest side of Scotland, and they at one point in time, if you're into the history of this, at one point in time they had something like 15 distilleries on this little strip of land on the ocean. Now it's down to one, and they make a really good whiskey. It's about 12 years old. They use the seawater in its production process, so you actually get a little bit of a salinity into the Scotch itself. So it's like, at first you're kind of like, whoa, why is this salty?
Why? Why?
Why am I hearing salty? But after the second drink, you're basically pretzels and Scotch in one, and now you're just good night.
Scotch.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just drink it
Done
all
and
day
done.
long. It's so good. But anyway, I'm just like throwing out my little Scotland credentials.
That's good though. Well, it's all part of who you are, and I think
Yeah.
that's what makes it so special to have you here doing this.
Yeah.
For me, I love
Yeah,
it.
no,
So that's something
absolutely.
I actually want to go back because you said Scotch school earlier.
Yeah.
I heard that phrase. Could
Scotch school.
elaborate on that?
Yeah,
is-
so
what
I
is
come from a
Scotch
Scotch school. So there's a lot of, if you want to get into what I would classify as the fine art of distilling, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways of doing it. There's a lot of exploration and experimentation right now. But what I mean by that is, again, it's that traditional, what I think is traditional, it's that long aging with the cold on a pot still with a gooseneck, twice distilled, like very traditional way
Right.
of doing things, right? That's primarily what I mean. But the ultimate result of that is also emphasis on the aging, right? Is to get that smooth, Scotch-like finish
Right.
with a bourbon, right? Was kind of my point. So
Nice.
it's my philosophy in
I
terms
thought he
of
was
it.
going to look at me and be like, "No, I went to the South
No,
Harbour
no,
School of Scotch."
Scotch tape,
Scotch
Scotch
tape,
guard.
Scotch guard, Scotch whiskey.
Scotch you.
I know all the scotches. So you've brought up your mash bill a couple times, and maybe it's working our way backwards, but
Yeah.
something that has kind of always interested me. What if it doesn't work? What if you say, all right, 60% rye, da-da-da-da-da,
Right.
this is it. I think it's okay. I'm going to stick it in a barrel. What if in 3, 4, 5, 6 years you're like, oh shit, I screwed up. Now, was there ever a backup plan?
No.
Or,
No. No.
oh
No,
God,
it
no.
is.
I was just,
I take a lot
Scary.
of anxiety medicine. No, I'm just kidding.
brother?
Son?
Oh, okay.
No,
What's up?
I still have my 5-gallon copper still, so I'm still tinkering, right?
Right.
I'm still making my stuff in a much bigger place, surrounded by bigger equipment.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I still experiment. To your point, okay, a lot of people have a different viewpoint on this. Over the course of me doing this on my own with that 5-gallon copper still and getting used to what we call, white dog whiskey, clear whiskey, right out of the still. Cutting heads, hearts, everything else.
I have an infatuation with white whiskey for
Yes.
some reason. I
We
don't
can
know
talk about
why.
that. I have a philosophy on that as well.
Okay.
But you get really used to tasting it off the still and knowing
Right.
what's working, right? So you just have that experience of coming off of of the deflegmator and all that stuff, you get a sense of what the whiskey's going to do. And I pride myself on having a really great palate as part of that. I consider myself a bit of an artist when it comes to this stuff, as weird as that sounds. I try not to sound that weird, but everything I do is with attention, and I'm trying to hit a really specific note, especially while I'm experimenting. So it goes through a lot of iterations, but I'm tasting it as it's coming out. I don't put anything in barrels unless I like how it tastes clear. Anything you put in barrels tends to improve. Right. So that I can say at least is, and we source our barrels from a cooperage out of Kentucky. We went to the best, one of the best for sure, and they're fantastic. They have a cooperage in Scotland and in Kentucky. They know what they're doing, so I can trust them with the construction process, and they're all handmade still by them. I love them to death. But that bringing them in, and then especially with the rye. Okay, so I'm going to segue here just for a second because I'm going to nerd out about this. This is why I love the aging process. They will. A typical rye char is different than a bourbon char because it tends to be a little darker. You tend to get a little bit more of that char burnt toast element with a rye is what you'll usually get. With this, I talked to them and sent them samples of what I was cooking with. They were first like, oh my God, we've never seen anyone do like a corn, like 4-grain mix, straight, single malt right out of the distillery, not being blended, just go straight and see what works. So they got really excited. We ended up with like basically a darker bourbon char on this. So you're actually getting more of a little bit lighter tone on the char, but that's really emphasizing the grains and what that rye does and spice. So I didn't want to overplay the darkness in the char with the rye. So for those of the people watching that are really nerding out about this particular production side of things, that's everything I do. Again, it goes back to intention, right, and quality. So.
Well, I feel like you're doing it almost kind of lighter on purpose because you want people to go beyond the Firelight.
Right.
That's your tagline for
right.
everything. I mean, so if you do it lighter, and then people go beyond that to figure out what it is. Right. Well,
it's approachable.
Very.
So I think if you make whiskey right, almost anyone can appreciate it. It doesn't matter if I only drink vodka, I only drink tequila, I don't know. If you like your drinks and you like your cocktails, or if you like your sippers. A good whiskey you should be able to appreciate all of it, And so, at least let me get promotional. But to your point, when you drink that Big Red, we're not talking. These are strong flavors, right? So it's not like you're getting a deadened version of it.
Yeah.
You're just getting a less hot, more prestige, distillation process.
No, it's a very good flavor profile.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah, it's really, really good.
I think that's that last question you should ask Luke that.
Since I'm a fellow Scotch lover myself, any plans to experiment with single?
Yeah, we get that question a lot.
You mentioned it. You kind of mentioned it earlier.
No, yes. In fact, I mean, Scotch is easy because it's 1 grain. First of all, I don't have to sit here with mash bills. 1 grain, and what's great about Scotch is it's all about the surrounding factors, right? To develop the character and the identity on that. So I've been in a sketchbook trying to find an identity, like a Montana single malt. What does that look like? How do we affect it? What are the elements that we need to put into it to make it really a statement in terms of how we do it? To me, a single malt's a high mark in terms of whiskey making. So I think I've got a really good idea. Yeah, but so to answer your question is we're putting some into barrels this year finally, and we're going to start trying some things. But like I said, I wouldn't release a single malt until they were aged at least eight years. And again, and what's cool is we'll be using the bourbon barrels from the Ghost Whip.
Right, because you can use
so that flavor is already going to be part of that.
Yeah.
So that's an individual element all to itself.
Right.
That's cool.
Plus, and this might be a good segue too. Not for nothing, but we also have a really great relationship with a state vineyard out of Napa that's providing some really great Chardonnay barrels for us.
Man, there was a video that popped up on our Instagram.
Yes, exactly. I'm
excited about that.
And they're also like a 3rd-generation family vineyard and stuff like that. So family businesses collide, and they've got fantastic Chardonnay award-winning stuff, and that's what this is. right here.
Oh, so we have that.
Yeah. So
This is also that's all that's left. That's all that's
Rolling it
left.
out.
yes. So this gross bottle is what's left.
How long has this bottle been floating around?
Yeah, this gross bottle is.
October.
Yeah.
I've been holding on to it. I really have.
So this is so to speak to that. This is a finished Chardonnay finished Ghostwood whiskey that we pulled some barrels from this
I'm
a
driving, so
great
I'm gonna
vineyard
pass, so.
Okay.
called Trefethen up in Napa Valley.
You should try just a little bit on your tongue.
It's
I
aged.
had it with you.
Oh, that's right. No,
No,
that's
it's
right.
delicious.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh, yeah,
fantastic.
okay. It's aged. It's finished at 6 months. In those 60, I think there's 66 gallon casks for wine. Somewhere in there. I'm not the wine guy.
Ooh.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
really gonna, for what your palate is, you're really gonna love this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point of this was I was trying to replicate, what Scotch does with sherry finishes and that sort of thing. This is kind of the Ghostwood version of
Isn't that
it.
nice? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're
Okay,
gonna get
give me a
that.
smidge. I mean, like
So
a,
is this your bourbon mash bill or your?
This is the bourbon with a little
Done.
bit of
Thanks.
Chardonnay
And the longer you let it sit,
spirits in there.
the more it just comes. Yes, sir.
The side of your mouth.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And it's cotton candy on the nose.
Oh yeah.
This is fantastic.
You know, and what I was gratified with is that my worry is that the whiskey was going to overpower it. But this is
really
this has really
complemented
turned
it.
itself into its own product.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what
That's
I mean?
it's
It's
so
super
di-
fruit
it's-
forward.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Are you still hearing him? You guys switch mics.
Yeah,
Oh.
I can hear it.
Okay, good.
I project loud on purpose.
That's
so-
good.
Say I don't
He's in
know.
my ear. No, oh, no.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, so on this, I mean, the Chardonnay, it's going to be fruity. It's going to be oaky. So you're adding those elements on top of the Ghostwood. And my approach to this was I didn't want the wine to blanket the Ghostwood.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be
No,
a
I like
part.
that the oakiness comes. The,
You know.
the oakiness shows through on this one.
Yeah, it does. So you get, and what's cool about wine is when I started doing this, I'm not a wine guy, but by talking with them, I got to learn a lot about their process.
Right.
And so what works and what doesn't work. So it's been really fun for me to just explore. So this is what's remainder of that first pull back in October, but this is coming into market for Ghostwood starting April 1st.
So this is going to be a release here.
This will be a
soon.
release, yeah. So starting April 1st, you'll probably start, if you're following us on social media, you'll probably start seeing some early buzz in March here pretty soon. And then, so it'll be in stores hopefully April 1st, if not somewhere around there.
So how did you come up with the idea of combining the two, other
Yeah.
than families or friends? Was that it mainly?
Basically, we've been looking for an excuse to work together for a while.
Okay.
They've been, like I said, they've been in the wine business forever. I'm getting in the whiskey business new,
Yeah.
right? But I just wanted the bourbon out there. I wanted to make sure that was a hit first, and then I needed barrels to use. So once it got to a point where I felt like we were ready for it, we talked to them. They gave us a certain version of their Chardonnay. They've got a lot of specifics when it comes to their aging process, but to try. And so this is the result of that first attempt, really. So, and as we go, as much variation as you can get on a bourbon over a course of a couple of years, the same thing can be true with the wine, And so it'll be interesting to see. There's probably going to be, when we do the standard products, we tend to mix like 3 barrels together in order to make sure that at least the flavoring is consistent
Right.
for the people that get it this way. That's why I like to release special editions, so you get an actual difference in
Yeah,
terms
a
of the
little
barrel.
bit of variance.
Yeah, but with this, I want to make sure it's going to be consistent and it's its own thing. It's going to sit apart. And I think there's a place for it, obviously, with the Angels Envies
Oh,
and,
God,
Yeah.
and all that
the
stuff.
Angels Envy and the stuff that Penelope's doing with the rosé cask
Right,
and
exactly.
all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely a market for it. That
Yeah.
was actually you kind of read my mind, which is scary as shit. But I was going to ask, you're starting with Chardonnay. Is there any plans for maybe a Pinot Grigio, a
Yeah.
Zinfandel,
Well, and that's why I wanted to.
Moscato, some of those kind of lines?
Absolutely. No,
Interesting.
I'm planning a whole run at it, but I wanted to start with something that's a little bit what I actually thought would be a good match.
Yeah, I think
For
the
the Ghostwood.
Chardonnay was
Yeah, you
a
started
perfect.
out, you
Right.
nailed it right with the Chardonnay. I'll give you that.
Yeah, because I know. I mean, obviously, I'm not blind. I know the market. There's a lot of Pinots. There's a lot of
Sherry.
sherries
Yeah.
and cabs out there. Port. And to me, honestly, it always kind of came out. It always to me as a whiskey fan, you can like that. That's fine. For me, it always tasted a little cough syrupy
Right.
because of how dark those wines are in particular. So I went to the whites to start.
No, I like
Makes
it.
sense.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So more of a sherry
Okay.
vibe,
Yeah.
if you will.
No, I think the
Sherry,
Chardonnay was
Zinfandel,
perfect.
Right.
That type stuff. I got you.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned the single malt. You've mentioned this really soon future release of Chardonnay. What's the future look like for Ghostwood? Is there a big single barrel program? Like, do y'all do a bunch of
Yes,
store
we do, as a matter of
picks?
fact.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are y'all can you do a double oak? Are you planning a double oak?
Yeah.
Are you doing like what's the future look like for Ghostwood?
Yeah, I mean, for when I first got started, I was actually like, well, we got the bourbon, we got the rye, but I have like a notebook just full of mash bills, right? So there's a part of me that's kind of like, well, we don't have to do like double oaks or like variations on a thing. We can keep coming out with different bourbons. I mean, keep coming out with different ryes.
Is your notebook green?
No, it's black.
Okay.
It's the old writer's notebook.
You
The
ever
black
seen The Water Boy?
Oh yes.
He's like, I have a notebook, and I'm like, is it green?
Yeah, right. It's kind of similar though. It is muched up like that. No, but I've got a lot of different ideas. The creativity never stops with me. That's why I got into the business, because I like working with my hands. I like coming up with new things all the time. And like I said, we have the Founder Select series where we're kind of give you a peek behind the curtain in terms of what we're working on. So, join our newsletter if you want to get access to that stuff. It's always fun. I can't guarantee it's always going to be great, but that's the fun of it.
Right.
But again, I tend to lean towards perfection as much as I can. So everything I do, we'll be doing a double oak. Actually, the next one probably after the rye, and in mix with the single malt variation is going to be a 10-year-old version of Ghostwood, which will be the next one. So this will be premium aged,
Right. Yep.
and that'll be labeled Ghostwood Gold, actually.
Ooh,
Because-
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a
And
lot.
have a gold label on it. It'll look really pretty. But again, you just have to wait. With this kind of stuff, if you want to do it.
I know, right. That's
know,
the worst part about this. Is
It really is.
It's all about timing.
I
You
know.
just gotta wait and wait and wait.
It's like I'm looking at my books. I'm like, well, in 2032,
Yeah,
I'll be
exactly.
doing this, and I'll be this old.
Yeah. Wait. What? Oh gosh.
My daughter's gonna be driving.
Oh man.
My daughter's going to be driving, and I'm going to be this old.
So that's
Yeah,
the
right.
special for everybody
Oh yeah.
that they can do.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. So you can announce that if you like.
I will. So if you go online at ghostwoodwhiskey.com,
Yep.
get your Ghostwood discount card and get $10 off your order today
Ooh.
using the code
Right there.
GWD-RICK.
Yeah.
It says Ghostwood Distilling, obviously GWD.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Get on
Rick,
it.
obviously the guy
R-I-C-K.
sitting to my left on the cooler. Which
Yeah.
is always cool conversation. So yeah, and we'll take a picture of this and
Yeah,
definitely
we'll-
post
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
We'll let all of our
like that.
followers know that's
Oh, yeah.
definitely
10%
that's
off.
pretty
That's
cool.
$10 off. Yeah, $10 off your bottle.
$10
Yep.
off.
That's
good.
and that's a big deal. I mean,
That is
as
a
a
very
craft
big deal,
distillery,
yes.
that's a big deal.
That's huge.
So, quick question. I know we need to start wrapping up.
Yeah.
So you call it the Women's Whiskey Society.
Yeah.
Do y'all lean more bourbon and rye and traditional
Yes.
things, or are you
We-
leaning
well-
into Scotch or single malt Irish?
She was like, yes.
Well, so
I'm just curious. Are there,
no, traditionally we lean more towards bourbons and ryes, and but we do have scotches. We actually did a huge event with Dalmore. We've done a lot with Compass Box Scotch, actually. So the answer is yes. We do all of them. I wanted it to be whiskey for a reason. I could have
Right.
done, but top consumer group of just about everything is women. So we found that whiskey companies love us because of that. So, and if you ask liquor store companies, they'll say most of the people that come in are women because that's who's buying the booze for whoever's wanting it. So,
That's right.
aside from themselves. So, so yeah, there's mostly bourbon drinkers in our group, but there are some ladies that are absolutely excited about having a peated scotch.
That's pretty
come in.
cool.
I need to hang out with
So
those
what
ladies.
And Rick, what's
Right?
what's
They're
up?
fun.
What's
They're
next
great
for you?
Well, next for me will be I'm going back to Fort Worth. I've got an event at the BB Chop House. It's a charity event on the 2nd.
Okay.
I'm doing an event at the Fort Worth Club, which is the country club that's downtown Fort Worth that doesn't have a golf course. All right, so it's it's a very nice place there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Country club that doesn't
Yeah,
have
weird.
a
Which means it's a
Right.
social
Yeah.
club.
It's
Yeah.
basically a social club.
Social club.
And then we are doing the entire Texas tour with Whiskey Riot.
Oh, okay.
The first
Yeah.
the
We'll
first
be at
one
all
will
the
be
whiskey riots.
yeah, the first one will be on the 9th in Dallas.
Right.
We're coming down here. We're doing events in April here. We're actually sponsoring the glassware and the whiskey for the event when you first walk in at the Houston show.
Oh, nice.
Then I burn off to and go up to Austin,
What's the date on the Houston show?
the April 20th.
April 20th.
April 20th. So
Buy your tickets now.
Yes, yes.
Come on in to Whiskey Riot, say
Yeah,
hi.
the VIP tickets are
Ghost
going
with glass.
fast. The Austin and the Dallas show VIP tickets are already gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, we're also doing San Antonio, and then we're going to do the Oklahoma City. We're sponsoring that one up there
very nice.
for Whiskey Riot. We're going to do an event in Dallas with Whiskey of the Worlds. We're doing 2 events with Whiskey Washburn. We're actually doing in July, we're doing a TRA show for the first time, going down with the restaurants.
Restaurant Association.
Right. And then we're also doing in Dallas in August. We're doing the nightclub show up in Dallas. Convention.
bars
So
and
when
nightclubs.
does Rick get a vacation during all this?
Right around August
Yeah.
at this point.
But I would like to say, I want you guys to get my email address.
Yes.
If anybody has a social club that they'd like us to talk to, if they have a liquor
whiskey
store,
club.
a whiskey club,
Yes.
I
I
think
know there's a few of them on Facebook that we're a part
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
if
The Bourbon Legends, South Texas Whiskey,
Oh, nice.
Bellevue Whiskey and Cigar.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, welcome to show my
Yeah,
email
we'll
there.
post this for sure. But it's Rick at ghostwoodwhiskey.com.
Yep.
That's right.
Just curious.
There also too, we'd like to know if there's I don't care if you're in a 200 town person, or a person 200 people, and you have one little liquor store there, and you don't have it there and you want it there, we'll be glad to get it there for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll make sure it gets there.
Ryan, since you're in studio, did you have any? Do you have a question for
No, I'm
for
good.
anybody?
I love everything.
Straight.
We need to connect. Might be able to help you with some
Yes.
Sweet.
the women whiskey stuff.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it for sure.
But
Yeah.
no, y'all were fantastic, and the cocktails were
Yes,
fantastic.
cocktails.
Yeah, oh my
And
gosh,
then
yeah.
mojito.
There's still some here.
Oh. Yeah, there's
Well, apparently we have plenty.
well,
What else do we have?
Actually, look, we got more. Look.
Oh my gosh! What is it? So what do we
You
got?
go night night on the
Run them
plane.
through.
All
Run
right,
them through.
real quick. That's just an old fashioned. Right? What's this here? That one is the Ghostwood with ginger beer, and this one here is the rye with a squeeze of lemon.
That sangria is damn good.
You know what's
Yeah.
interesting is we went to sample
save
some
this
of the
for my
whiskey
wife
out in
instead.
Galveston, and he had them make their house old fashioned
Yeah.
with the regular whiskey, and he had the bartender make it with their whiskey, and he set them side by side and let the purchaser, beverage purchaser, or manager, whoever it was, pick which one they like best.
Bartender.
Bartender, yeah. And 100% across the board said they like the old fashioned made with the Ghostwood.
Really?
You're
Yeah,
an old-fashioned
yeah.
guy.
It was
am.
a
Curious on your
genius.
take
I
on
mean,
that.
that's an
It's
honest
really
to
good.
God
It's
wine
really well
done.
tasting.
But yeah.
Yeah, I just
You got to
tried.
have respect for that.
That's really good.
Oh, and you did bring up the one thing I will say is I guess an addendum to Ghostwood in its business is we love doing barrel picks.
Yes.
All right, so if you're a whiskey club or you're a store or whatever, just give me a call or give the distillery a call. We'll get you set up. I typically do it obviously if you're not in Montana. I'll actually send you this. I'll do 6 individual barrel picks on my own.
Okay.
Send them to you.
Oh, that's cool.
You guys, and then I'll do a Zoom tasting with anyone who wants to do this. We'll pick your barrel.
You can do a collab cam one with this.
Yeah.
collab cam link.
No, I'd love to.
You know what we could do is we could all do a barrel together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
I have my wheels turning right now.
It's high because it's 53s. So you're talking, depending on Angel's share, and usually it kind of is around 205, 215. Yeah, so about 40 cases, for the whole bit, and you get the individual, I've been experimenting a couple times, but I think I finally settled on the pewter label around the neck, so it really
pretty.
stands out. It feels good. I'll decorate we have a decorated barrel that goes along with that, or just the topper, depending on how you want to display it. But all that gets included, so it's a lot of fun.
It is available in Southeast Texas.
Yes.
Yes.
All
Longhorn,
around. I know
yes.
Longhorn Liquor has it on their shelf. Be sure to get you a bottle. So I know y'all sponsor riders, if I'm not mistaken, like rodeo,
Oh yeah,
barrel, all that good stuff. But
NCHA, NRCHA,
Yes.
yeah.
I kind of stole that, and I used the hashtag Ghost Riders.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a really cool thing.
That's freaking
is
cool.
If you get a bottle,
Yes.
post it. Let us see you holding the
sure.
bottle, drinking something out of it.
As
We
a matter
pour.
of fact, one of the guys in the comments earlier, our good friend Sherwan Mims with Heart
Yes.
of the Line, which is in
Yep.
your neck of the woods.
Yes.
He posted
He
his.
posted his Ghost Rider bottle.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, use the hashtag Ghost Riders, hashtag Ghostwood Distilling Company, hashtag Go Beyond the Firelight.
Yes.
We would love to see it. I want to see this thing blow up in Southeast Texas. Hashtag Ghost Riders. I thought that was a really cool
That is
thing.
cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna start
But-
a deal with hashtag Captain Rick.
Captain Rick.
But-
No. I love that movie.
Yes.
It's a terrible movie, but I love it.
So bad. It's so bad.
It's a guilty pleasure. Martin
So-
Short.
It's like you ever seen, I know you probably haven't, but there's a B-rated movie called Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. I'm a movie fan.
Okay,
So,
I don't know that one.
you're gonna have to watch that one.
Oh,
Very B-rated.
very B-rated.
All right, so I'm on a mission to get you out of here in plenty of time. I know you said
No,
you
I
had a
appreciate
heart
that.
out.
Yeah.
So how can everybody find y'all on social media? Are you
Yeah.
on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? Where are you? How do they find you?
Yeah, no, we're in the metaverse. So Instagram, Facebook, at Ghostwood Distilling Co. Ghostwoodwhiskey.com is our website. Yeah, and that's pretty simple. That's those two things. Sign up for a newsletter, like I said, because we really try hard to make that feel like you're in our own club. You know what I mean? So everything that we do, you get early access on the Founders Select stuff.
I'm gonna sign up.
I talk about my what I'm working on, in the given day and in the events that we're going to be at. So it's all good.
Awesome. And how does everybody find the Women Whiskey Society?
At the Women's Whiskey Society, thewomenswhiskey.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Summer Sanford, and we have a page that's being built for the LinkedIn set. But
Awesome.
we're everywhere.
Rick? People will find you pretty much everywhere, right?
You find me
At any event, you'll find Rick. He's the one with the patch.
That's it. Yeah, you can follow.
He's got a patch on.
No, but
Yeah, they can follow me.
Call him Captain Rick.
I didn't call him the one-eyed man. I mean, shit.
Go ahead, Rick.
Hello, no, yeah, hello. No, stop. G-rated. Okay, here we go. No.
Oh,
No, you can follow me at Rick Frantz, or just follow me at Rick Frantz. I only do Facebook. They do that. Yes,
Before I forget, how did your bar boss thing go?
I took temp.
There you go.
Out of the whole nation?
Out of the
Yeah.
whole nation.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
No, that's a big
No.
deal.
That's a big
Yes.
deal.
Yeah, it was really nice. I had almost 34,000 bartenders.
I almost forgot about that.
That
is
was
amazing.
I'm like, wait.
That is
No,
absolutely
I'm
amazing.
very well blessed. I mean, thank you for everybody out there that voted.
So
and
the top 10 finish. I like it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
your cocktails are outstanding.
Yes, they
like
are.
they are freaking outstanding.
If there's a whiskey
Bar none
event,
the best.
if there's a whiskey event and Ghostwood is going to be there, I'm sure Rick will be there.
That's it.
So you'll find Rick at all these whiskey events.
Yep.
Yes.
And please come up and say hi. I'm
Yes,
not shy,
absolutely.
believe me.
No, he is not shy at all.
No, I'm not shy.
Nope, not at all.
Linda was like, when we were setting up, hey, is that chair for me? Sure, buddy.
Yeah, come on.
Sure. It's for you.
And they didn't even know anything about Ghostwood.
Yeah, had no idea.
Had no idea.
No idea what it was.
That's funny.
So I just want to say I cannot thank y'all enough. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Montana to Texas,
Yes.
and as much as y'all have traveled the last few days,
Yeah.
this was a big deal. We're way out of the way, and we can't thank y'all enough for making the trip down here. And
I love it around here. This is a pretty area.
this has
Our
been
quiet, sleepy little town.
And by the way, guys, I mean the setup here. I know you came. You were warning me as we were coming back. But actually, this is probably one of the better setups I've seen. To be
really.
honest.
Really?
Thank you so much.
And I've seen some nice ones, but I just love this kind of vibe.
Yeah.
This is my vibe.
We try to make everything
Thank
as
you.
inviting as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
And
we
you guys
want
did a great
you-
job.
It was fun.
No one can see this, but they've got a whole setup here. It's fantastic. So
Well, thank you
It's
so
awesome.
much. But
The green screen's new, by the way.
this
I
is
know.
Awesome.
No, literally, we had one that was way smaller, and we're
Yeah.
like, hey, we're going to have to invest in
I
a
gotta
bigger one.
go way back with the camera.
So now
Step
we
it
got
up.
this.
Step
I did.
it up.
I did my weatherman. By
Yes.
You did earlier.
I feel we can do that on the fly if you want to.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm sure I can pull it up
We're pulling the weather.
if that's your lifelong dream, not whiskeys.
I like to explore everything the world has to offer.
Right, exactly. But yeah, absolutely cannot thank y'all enough for coming in here. This has been one of the probably one of the best Church of the Charred Oak Sunday
I feel
Fun Day
this is one of the
episodes
funnest ones for sure.
that we've done
awesome.
And not
ever.
just that, super surprise for you.
Yeah.
And the-
Yeah.
This was a great
Women's
surprise.
Whiskey
Thank you so
Society.
I'm
much.
so glad to be
Yeah.
here, and that was Rick's idea. And like he's like, "Somebody, you got to come."
I mean,
I'm
we
like, "Are you
can't-
sure?"
I
It's like the
love it.
functional gentleman.
Rick,
Are you sure?
Rick literally,
Yeah, no.
like, when he called
I'm
me
so
at
happy.
first, it was, hey, I'm going to show up. And then it was, hey, Lucas and I are going to show up.
Well, he did to
And
all
then
of
when he
us.
pulled
Yeah.
up, it was like, hey, I got
What a
something, man. I'm like,
trifecta! Should have banked on that.
But next time we're here, we're gonna have a full entourage.
Yeah,
We'll see how it
we're
goes.
gonna be blowing walls out to make sure everybody fits in here. But we can't thank you enough for being
No, I'm
here.
so stoked. I'm
and
so
yes,
glad.
it
It's
is
great
called
to
the
know y'all.
Functional Gentleman, but that's
Where did the name come from?
Yeah.
So,
we have no idea.
I'm,
Kinda.
so I'll be honest.
I love the idea. I love the
I'm a
name.
huge EDC guy,
Yeah.
and I normally do like once every quarter. I do a gear review thing, whether it's pocket knives, cigar cutters.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's
And
usually
it was,
once
you
a
know-
quarter, and we're both quote unquote girl dads. He's got two
Yeah.
daughters. I have one daughter.
Okay.
So it kind of
So-
you You want to be
gentlemen
kind of gentlemanly
and-
towards them and teach them of what a guy.
Should be.
whiskey,
Absolutely.
cigars. I mean, you know, there was a
Values.
whole ordeal.
Oh yeah.
But it
And
just
we-
made sense. But it was never meant as a, you know,
No, it's not
He-Man
a-
woman hater
it's
club.
not a label.
You don't
Well,
have to
that's
know.
kinda like
You don't have to
LGBT.
know the handshake to get in or nothing. You just. It was just that's who we are. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You don't have to have
So that is
okay.
it. That is okay.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
Now that
Okay.
you know.
It's
But-
cool though, because it's the same kind of thing with us,
But yeah,
except
we're
just
both girl
reversed. Because
dads,
we're
and-
both like,
I know.
I'm not. Everybody goes, so you don't like men? I go,
Right.
no, absolutely,
No.
100% love my men. It's a big. You know, that's why I was having a struggle with the culture. Because I was like, no, I totally would love to include men in this, but I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So you really can't. You have to just kind of, you know.
Yeah, and I
but
mean-
whiskey in the city's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, I bet.
I'll
it is.
fun.
have to pay attention for that. We'll have to swap numbers in this.
Yeah, for sure. Love to. Love
Yeah,
to. But no.
get
And
in
then,
on that.
how long
Yeah.
has this been going?
So we started
Time
in
is it?
March
4 minutes.
of 2021.
This will
So a
be
year
year
before
three.
I
This will be
started.
year 3.
So we started
That's
we're
a big
now
deal.
into year 3.
That's a big deal.
And Ghost isn't that much older than you guys.
So this is
There you go.
it's awesome
Man,
team.
we started,
awesome
like,
team building
God,
right here.
honest truth, like I
Really.
tell everyone all the time, you know, we've come a long way in 3 years.
Sure.
We literally
This
started
show's
out
evolved
with a
big
pile
time.
system, which is like the lowest end of mixer you can get. And now we graduated to a Roadcaster, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
We had like a basic webcam,
Yes.
so it was all blurry.
Basic 1080p
But even the show
webcam.
itself is evolved because we started out with like this whole topic where we talked
Yes.
about everything from serious topics like bullying to just dumb stuff that guys talk about. Well, the show's evolved completely. Once we opened this place up and things really,
Yes.
really turned into what we think the functional gentleman is
Because kind
and
of like
can
how
be.
you said you got fired earlier, we actually had a sublease
Yeah.
with a local entertainment company.
Oh, really?
The
here in
studio
town.
got shut down.
Yes,
We
studio
got
got
kicked
shut
out.
down.
We
The
built
whole
this.
thing, and
And
he and I looked at each other like,
what do we do now?
and it's
And
like, let's just build our own shit.
the show-
Hey,
Like,
hey,
okay.
let's go beyond the Firelight.
Yes.
There you go.
Hey!
Nice
That-
building,
hey.
nice prime example of
That
who
is the
would be
perfect
on.
one. And
Ah, nice.
Hey,
Guys,
see.
thank you so much. No,
Oh,
really.
no.
It's
No.
No, it's great.
this has
Good,
been a
good.
good time.
Fantastic.
Thank you again, everybody. Thank you
Thank
for tuning
y'all.
in. We will post this as a podcast. It'll be
Yes.
available everywhere you get your podcasts. As always, we've been the Functional Gentlemen.
Yes.
Y'all been great.
Yes.
You've been great. You've been great. You've been great.